More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio. Yeah!
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That will be me, Mike Winters. Happy, there we go, maybe. They got real out there. Not so much there. All right. Well, I'll just do it there. So, anyway.
Not here so much, but like right here. Yeah, I was like, are you getting that? You only getting the one channel thing? I thought it was mine. These are terrible headphones. So I thought
yeah. No. But I'm getting two in the, just not in the air feed.
Yeah.
I wonder if, wonder what that's all about.
Monday, man. Dude, it has been Monday all day long. I keep getting disconnected from the system. It's a nightmare.
It is a Monday.
Trying to do a show from a remote location, it adds so many different elements.
Yeah. And it's spring break Monday.
Yeah.
So kids and teachers and...
Yeah, so nobody's actually up listening to us, right?
Well, a lot of other people are.
I know.
But a lot of people aren't.
Oh, my kids were mad.
Because they had to get up.
Yeah, Brianna was like, this is my spring break, and I had to wake her up to take her to mom's house. So, yeah, she was not happy.
Well, she can go back to sleep.
Oh, yeah, no, she can get glad in the same pants she got mad in. That's,
yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't get to stare at the backside of my eyelids.
They don't feel too bad. I used to actually love that. Like when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And you had to get up just to go do nothing.
I always really liked when... My parents used to like do our road trips overnight. Like we would travel through the night.
Yeah.
I think in theory it was so that we would sleep through but I never did. I would sleep in like little stints. But my favorite part of like those trips was like waking up at like 3 a.m. and going into like the truck stop or whatever, because it felt wrong. You know, it felt wrong as a kid to be up this time of night in a truck stop.
Yeah. Well, it was like for us. It was when my parents would do the road trips to go see my grandparents in upstate New York.
Right.
And so we lived in D.C., and it was a 6-hour road trip from Maryland to New York there, where my grandparents lived. And so they would do the same deal, where they would get up at 0400 or whatever it is and get on the road. And you're right. You wake you up, and then they put us in the back of the station wagon, because that's what we had back in the day. And so, yeah, you'd fall asleep back there. And then you'd wake up right around an hour into daylight or so when daylight started.
See, I never did that.
Yeah, well, I
tried.
No, I did. I would get excited, and I'd pass out. And then I'd wake up, and right around daylight, Dad always would stop in Pennsylvania in the same Stuckey's.
Right.
Or LB's. It changed names a couple times, but Bob's Big Boy basically is what it was. And we would have breakfast there, and I get the same breakfast. I used to love it, to this day. And it was one of those ones that it kind of had the Cracker Barrel deal going on, where you could buy like Rubik's cubes and knickknacks and whatnot in there.
Sundries, various sundries.
Yeah. So that was like my go-to as a kid was in Stuckey's, and I get the same thing. And yep.
To this day, specifically the smell of like red onions, it triggers a sense memory, because every Love's we ever walked into going like on these road trips always had a Subway inside that was operating at 2 a.m. I have no idea who was still eating sandwiches at 2 a.m. I know truckers, I know, but that was that smell.
While they're waiting for their shower.
That smell just it instantly takes me back to those truck stops. I remember one, and I don't know if you're I'm sure your dad never did this. My dad was stubborn. He wouldn't like get a hotel or whatever. He would pull off to the side of the road and just sleep for a little while.
Oh.
With us still in the car.
Oh, wow.
That was annoying. It was like we were driving through the night and he didn't want to find a place and like get a hotel or whatever. So he pulled off and he's like, I'm just going to sleep for like an hour and a half. I was just sitting in the back seat like, all right, guess we're doing this now. This was before you had phones or internet. So what was it? I think I had a Walkman.
Yeah, no, my mom would have never put up with that. Oh, never would have put up with that. No, it was day trips, and then if we took a longer, we did get like I remember we did a family trip out west when I was little. My brother was still like barely walking. I think he had they'd stick him in those toddler things to walk around in. You know, he was around that age, so 2-ish.
Okay.
And we went out to Kansas City, Topeka actually. That's about as far west as we went.
Topeka.
Yeah, and that was our multi-trip, and I remember staying in hotels and staying in the pools. There was like 2 nights in pools, and it was like a whole thing, and we did break down somewhere in the middle of Missouri or someplace, and that was not pleasant. But my dad had a Volkswagen station wagon at the time.
We almost never got hotels.
Yeah, that was rare. That was a rare thing.
There was, on occasion, we would get a motel.
Yeah.
But it was like, like the A1 or the roadside or whatever. It was almost always just, we're going to crash in the car. And to this day, I refuse to buy stuff to make sandwiches on road trips. Because that was always the move. My dad was like, no, we're not going to go out to eat. Because you think you're on the road trip. This is like the one time we have fast food or whatever.
Sure.
He's like, no, we're going to go to the store. We're going to get stuff to make sandwiches. I don't care how destitute I am. I refuse to, on a road trip, go buy the stuff to make sandwiches.
Yeah. I imagine there's a lot of people your age that feel the same way because that was common.
That one stung, man.
Hey, parents, they just stretch it $1, man. You need a bloated sandwich over eating a $5 meal or $10 meal at the IHOP or whatever.
And dude, and I hope so hard all the time, constantly, that I'm not giving my child food aversions or some type of food phobias like I have. But then it's like, I don't know what the triggers are going to be. My parents were just trying to save money, so they went and got the stuff to make sandwiches. Right. And look, I'm traumatized.
Well, we're all going to deal with that. That's going to be a thing.
And now I'm in therapy. You never know what it's going to be. What's going to trigger the crack.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm going to wrap it up here. I kind of wish, like, if when we were kids, they had the sheets and the Wawas and the queue times like they have nowadays. Right. That would have been.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. That would have been in Shangri-La.
Great little place to, like, wander around for a bit.
Those didn't happen. They weren't like that. No. You had. Although, I'm not going to lie. To this day, I love hitting like the diners, like just a place that serves eggs and bacon. That's kind of their. Those are my best favorite places.
You show me an iron skillet,
yeah,
I'm stopping there.
Yeah,
I don't care.
That's kind of my favorite jam of all of them. So, let me give you the rundown for today. We do have a full show for you. Matt Bristol office is going to join us here in just a few. Chit chat with us, give us good legal advice and things. In the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:15, Amy McVeigh-Tejas is going to drop by with the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico. Remind everybody about scholarships. We're right hot and heavy in the middle of scholarship season. Now's the time to be applying for multiple scholarships that are available through the Historical Society. Plus, we'll give some updates and things there. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, gubernatorial candidate Greg Zanetti is going to join us, and we're going to talk obviously about his candidacy, but he wants to talk a little bit about also all the Russia stuff. Russia, all the things going on there. In case you hadn't known, Greg Zanetti in a former life was in the military. He was actually in charge of Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay, for one point, so he kind of knows a thing or two about military stuff. So he's going to join us and talk with us a little bit about Russia this morning, and he is running for governor, so we're talking about that too. So we'll have that, and then of course all of your features include the news of the local and national variety, and whatever else we can come up with. Of course, livestock report with Smiley Wooten it is Monday. We'll have a new one of those for you here in just a few minutes as well. Before we do any of that, though, let's go ahead and take a look at your weather. Warmer this week. A little windy today, though, but here it is.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. The big deal today will be the gusty wind as high as 45 miles per hour. We'll get mostly sunny skies and our afternoon high in the mid-60s. For the overnight hours, down to 30. The wind will be calming down a little bit. Skies will be clear, and then not as windy on Tuesday. Sunshine, and we're back to the mid-70s. Looks like we'll hit the 80-degree mark with fair weather on Wednesday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 50 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 18%, kind of low, which usually doesn't bode well for fire watches and things like that. None on the horizon. However, it is going to be sunny, windy, and low humidity. So you do that math. Probably not a good idea to be just tossing butts out the window and doing that kind of stuff today. But we are looking at sunny skies, highs mid-60s today, 66 officially. Winds are going to be up out of the west, 15 to 20 this morning, increasing 25 to 30, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour later today. Clear skies tonight with an overnight low of 30. Winds will be out of the northwest, 10 to 15 early, decreasing down 5 to 10 after midnight tonight. Tuesday, we're going to be back up in the mid-70s tomorrow. Sunny, 74 for a high. Northwest winds 5 to 10 early. Out of the south, 10 to 15 for tomorrow afternoon. Clear skies tomorrow night with an overnight low of 36. Winds out of the south, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looking at the rest of the week, mostly sunny. Highs in the 80s on Wednesday. 81 officially with northwest winds 5 to 10 early. Southwest 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Thursday, they're saying there's a chance, a 20% chance of rain for Thursday afternoon. Otherwise sunny, 67 for a high. Mostly sunny, 63 on Friday. And then we'll be hanging out in the mid-70s on Saturday. Breezy and sunny on Sunday, highs right around 81. So 60s, 70s, maybe an 80s or two. We get it all this week. Maybe a little rain as well. So, oh, by the way, it's 7:17. If you think it's 6:17, you forgot to change your clocks and you're late. You might want to get going. Just friendly reminder. All right, it is 17 minutes after 7 o'clock. Time for your Roswell Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten. Quick break, and then Matt Bristol Office, will join us on the other side. Don't go away.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A good March run this week with a nice selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality native calves, light yearlings, pairs, and bred cows. We expect to sell 900 head, breaking down like this. 150, 175 weighing cows and bulls, 150, 175 pairs, bred cows, 550, 600 calves and yearlings. Today's sale will include a herd dispersal, a Hammond Ranch, Fort Stockton, Texas, to include 85 bred cows, 25 cow-calf pairs, good quality, 90% black, white face Angus cross cows with calves at side, bred to high-quality Angus bulls. Cows are thin to medium condition, running age, 2 to 10 years old. 13 bred cows, Henderson Ranch, Winston, New Mexico. Quality black cows bred to Lac Morrison Brangus bulls, second and third trimester, 3 to 4 years old. 29 calves, Haystack Land and Cattle Company, here east of Roswell. Good quality black, white face Angus cross calves. Cattle wean 90 days, 2 rounds of shots, right off short wheat, 450, 550 pounds. 18 calves, Hammond Ranch, Fort Stockton, Texas. Quality black, white face Angus crosses, 275, 350 pounds. 17 calves, Dufree Canyon, Magdalena, New Mexico. Quality black, white face Angus crosses, cattle wean 120 days, 2 rounds of shots, 450, 650 pounds. 41 calves, Mobley Ranch here at Carlsbad. Quality Charolais crossbred calves, 300, 550 pounds. 27 steer calves, Mr. Ronald Stansney, Magdalena, New Mexico. Quality black, white face Angus crosses, 1 round of shots, 400, 500 pounds. 29 calves and light yearlings, Kincaid Brothers there at Pinon. Quality black Brangus crossbreds, cattle wean 45 days, 500, 650 pounds of 29 yearlings, Mr. Bob Bird, Corona, New Mexico. Good quality horned crossbred yearlings, right off grass, 800, 950 pounds. Sale time this morning be 9 o'clock. Sell pairs of bred cows 10. Be selling calves and yearlings about 10:30 to 11. We expect to sell 900 head here today. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Get smoking hot deals during the sizzling savings event at Roswell Nissan. Like a 2015 Ford F-150 for just $307 a month, or a 2010 Honda Odyssey for just $149 a month. And join Roswell Nissan March 26th from 10 to 1 for free food, stuff for the kiddos, and your chance to win a Masterbuilt 30-inch electric smoker. 1 entry for stopping by, 3 entries with a test drive or service, and 5 entries with a purchase. Drawing March 26th at 1. Must be present to win. Get a Home Depot gift card with a test drive and a portable grill and a chance at the cash grab just for stopping by. On now at Roswell Nissan. 2111 West 2nd.
When you're not feeling well, the last thing you want to worry about is how soon you can get in to see your healthcare provider, or even finding a provider if you don't have one. Well, now you can feel better, knowing that the Loveless Healthcare Center in Roswell offers appointments for when you're not feeling well, or for checkups, annual exams, or any chronic issues that need attention. To schedule an appointment or to find a new healthcare provider, call 575-625-3222 today.
This is Renee.
Happy to be here.
She's not some influencer. She's more of a groundbreaker, turning her 4-acre lot into a little slice of heaven behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. Renee runs with us because the most important job is the next one.
That's all I got.
Nothing runs like a Deere. Hear Renee's story at Deere.com.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
At LeGrand Funeral Chapel, we believe that every funeral should be a reflection of the life it honors. The joys, the triumphs, the faith, the family, and so much more. For us, no detail is too small, no request too big. This is Rosa Aguilar. When the time comes to choose a funeral home, we hope you'll let us serve your family. At LeGrand Funeral Chapel and Crematory, we make it personal.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Movie trailers were originally shown after the movie, which is why they're called trailers. Mike thought they named them after the mobile home. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Bristol Law Office, Matt Bristol back with us. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Mike. How are you this morning?
Doing well. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday. How was your weekend?
Good. Had a couple some friends over, did some stuff, and but overall wasn't overly busy. Kind of a pretty low-key weekend for me. So how about yourself?
Saturday I taught Hunter Ed. I've been teaching since 94, 95, and I teach wilderness survival. So we actually start fires in the classroom, indoors.
Oh, okay.
Kids they just love that.
I imagine I'd be pretty cool about that too. And of course, if it's wilderness survival, they're probably learning to light fires with things other than matches.
Oh yeah,
and lighters.
Oh yeah, yep.
You learn like with things like steel wool and magnifying glasses and the rubbing together of sticks and things. There's different methods to do it. And they kind of learn them all, or learn different ones. So.
Well, we do steel wool and batteries. Mm-hmm. Actually light Lay's potato chips on fire.
Nice.
Those things burn really good. Good fire starter.
Yeah.
And then I get a pad of steel wool and a mixture of 4831 rifle powder and Q-Tex fingernail polish remover. And I have a volunteer make it into like a Play-Doh. And then put that on top of the steel wool, light the steel wool, and it ignites that stuff. And it burns slowly. It's like a jet flame coming out.
Okay.
And I get a wax paper cup full of water, and I'll put it on top.
Oh, okay.
And it's dead silent because the kids are waiting for that wax paper cup to burn through, and it won't.
Yeah,
because of the water absorbs the heat.
Yeah, science. Yeah. I will tell you this: if you're an avid camper, person that likes to camp and go out, go to Boy Scout headquarters and get you and purchase this. And I always see them at the Boy Scouts. I don't know. I'm sure that you can buy them at camping stores, but my whole life I've only seen them through the Boy Scouts. I always call it the Spark Kit. And in essence, it's a little kit with it makes a little spark.
Right.
And it is the most handiest tool a person that likes to camp and do things could have on them, because with that thing, you could literally start a fire without matches any single time, and it's not hard to navigate. It's really designed to be something that someone that doesn't even necessarily an avid camper, everything can use it and get a fire going pretty easy, almost as easy as if you had a lighter or some match or something.
Yeah, these make them also out of magnesium.
Yes.
Magnesium bars with a striker on one side. Yeah, so I've got one of those.
Yeah, those are one of the handiest tools. That and one of the little P-51, the old military cutters from back in the day. You have those two items on you when you're camping, you could pretty much do 9/10 of everything you need to do.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
You're going to be all right.
Yeah, well, it's a fun class. I enjoy it with the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. But when Matt's not helping teach kids wilderness survival, he is being a lawyer and providing sage legal advice for folks and stuff. And that's what we're talking more about today so much than... Although, if you do need tips on surviving in the woods, give Matt a call. He can help you with that, too.
Anytime. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Mike and I usually get together about a week in advance.
Yeah.
We talk about the show. And last week, Mike must have been slammed.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to get back with him. So we're exploring new territory together this morning. So.
Well, so in my job as an attorney, I see people of all ages and all walks of life. So it's very interesting. And so today we're going to generally kind of talk about Social Security, Medicare stuff.
Okay.
Because I see a lot of misconceptions out there. I'm not going to get too deep into like disability.
Sure.
I don't know anything about disability.
Sure. I know it's very hard to get, and they make you generally they reject you the first time, and you have to by design almost. And I know it can be a real gauntlet. And so if you're having issues, seek help. There's people out there that can really help you navigate.
Yeah, there's a couple of firms in town that do disability, and so I recommend them.
Yeah.
Not me. Okay, so is Social Security income taxable?
Well, that's something they took out of your income to begin with. I'm going to say I thought it's not, and they're wanting to try to tax it. Is that kind of what I've been hearing, or?
Well, on the state level,
okay,
some states tax Social Security at certain levels.
Okay,
and New Mexico is one of those.
Okay,
but even at the federal level, so there's a couple different things. So there's what's called full retirement age. And it used to be 65 for everybody. Now it's kind of modified up. I'm like 66.4.
Okay.
So if you're getting Social Security before full retirement age and you're working, then depending on how much you make, your Social Security could be income taxable and penalized.
Oh, wow.
After full retirement age, there's no penalty, but it may be income taxable
depending on where you live.
Depending on how much money you make.
Okay.
So if you got like 2 pension checks plus Social Security, your Social Security may be income taxable.
Okay. So basically, if you were smart and financially planned for yourself, they're probably going to tax your Social Security.
Yep.
If you didn't, then they're going to say, all right, you're trying to, eat sardines out of cans. We're going to not worry about you. So is that in essence kind of what it is?
Well, yeah. Another related question is Medicare. Is Medicare means tested?
I don't know. I'm not a big familiar with Medicare stuff, so I'm pretty naive.
Most people, yeah. Well, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
So, Medicare is means tested because the more you make, the higher your premiums are.
Okay.
The less you make, the lower your premiums are. So it is means tested in that regard.
But either way, that one's still beneficial. So I mean,
oh yeah.
Like what I mean by that is like my in-laws, they're of that age where they've retired and things like that, and they just the last couple of years got to the point where they're at the age where they're eligible to get on Medicaid and stuff like that. And for them, and my father-in-law, of course, he owned his own business for years, so he was an accountant and things, so he set himself up smart.
Good for him.
But a lot of it's done on his own. It wasn't like he worked for a company that set up all this stuff. And so, but for them, they finally got to an age where they were, and I remember a couple years ago, they were so happy because even though, yes, their income requires they're going to be paying premiums and things, but compared to, other insurance or them doing some of this outright, they've actually
more affordable.
Yeah, it's much more affordable for them. So they were very happy when they. Matter of fact, I think there was a couple things they were holding off on, and then they got to that age, and they're like, "All right, let's get it done now." You know what I mean?
Funny,
now that we get to all that, so they could pay less out of pocket for this stuff.
Sure. I think it's every 2 years Medicare looks at your income tax return and then adjusts your premiums.
Mm-hmm.
So in case you're just 1 year you had a really good year,
sure,
money wise, and your premiums rise up, and then after a couple of years they'll revisit it, and if your income's back down, then they'll lower the premiums back down.
Gotcha.
So that was an interesting thing that I found out.
Okay. So and I imagine there's a lot of people in our audience, that are listening to this, and they're thinking, I'm kind of at that age, and so I would imagine for them, it's probably when's the right time, like, to pull the trigger on some of this stuff.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
So, we'll continue with Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
At age 65 is when you're eligible to apply. Now, let's say you're employed, you could be working for the state, you already have health insurance coverage. And do you really need to apply for Medicare if you're already covered? That's the question.
Okay.
What do you think?
My gut says no, but it's probably the more the merrier. So you're probably saying yes, but I don't know.
There's two reasons yes to sign up.
Okay.
One, if you don't sign up at age 65, if you delay it, then there's a permanent increase in your premium cost.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
You're penalized.
So whether you need it or not, 65 start
sign up.
You
can sign up to 2 months early, 2 months late, I think.
Okay.
Secondly is once you're eligible for Medicare, your employer's health insurance coverage so double check, consider that to be your primary coverage.
Oh, so they may dump you or decrease your benefits.
Decrease your benefits big time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you get an option that, or they just tell you?
Well, it's probably somewhere in those 42 pages of
in
the
clause
pamphlet.
Of something you signed. Okay. So maybe
check with the HR department.
Check with the HR because your benefits may change drastically there. Now, in theory, if that does that, you're hoping that where one's dropping it, the other picks it up, but that may not always be the case. So make sure you're really doing your due diligence on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Check with your employer's health insurance folks.
So say that's the case. What's the option? Is it supplemental insurance for those kind of folks, or what do you recommend for those kind of folks?
If they're employed, their employer's health insurance is probably going to act like the supplemental insurance.
Okay.
So Medicare covers some things, doesn't cover other things, like it doesn't cover hearing or dental. So you get supplemental coverage for that. And then Medicare does have some out-of-pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more supplemental plans that you can get in addition that would cover those out-of-pockets.
Sure.
Also, there's two Medicares. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was kind of shut up. You see this stuff on TV, but until you get that age, it's like you really don't pay attention.
You're right, yeah. Until it's in your wheelhouse or something you need, you're kind of, it's the back of the brain there.
So they have what's called original Medicare, and then they have the secondary Medicare is actually insurance through an insurance company.
Okay.
So what's the diff, right?
So is that like privatized Medicare or something?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
So the original Medicare is you walk into a doctor's office, they say, you take Medicare? Yeah, here's my card. Nationwide.
Okay.
You take Medicare? Yep, here's my card. You're covered. Then the other newfangled stuff is almost like a private insurance company. Is they have doctors that are in circuit and doctors that are out of circuit.
Okay.
So if you go to a doctor that's out of circuit, they're not going to cover it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So got to be careful about that stuff.
So I'm wondering.
It's kind of like an HMO thing.
Yeah. So I'm guessing. I'm kind of curious because, when doctors, and I don't know how much of that's like when they decide what insurance they take and don't take and all of that. And I'm sure reputation comes into play on some of that where they're like, well, those guys don't pay. Like, we apply, and I'm sure some of that comes into play there. I'm wondering how that works with Medicaid, though, where ones that don't are outside the network or inside in theory, the government's paying for all of that.
Well, Medicaid is for indigent people.
Yes.
Medicare is for the elderly.
Well, I'm just wondering is how do they get to decide whether they take it or not? If it's a government thing, I'm kind of like
I don't know.
That's the part I'm curious about. And do privatized doctors say no? I'm not going to take that version of Medicare.
There are some doctors that don't take Medicare because Medicare says we'll pay you this much for this procedure, this much for this procedure, and that's all we're going to pay you.
Sure.
So there are some doctors that don't take Medicare. Yeah.
I'm just curious because I'm wondering if it ever got because you think like I look at that as service like the mail, a government service that they provide, and you can't not get mail. You know what I mean? and so I'm just kind of wondering. It's like, look, if someone walks in with that Medicaid and says, look, Medicare, I'm walking in and I'm basically my insurance is the government. I almost look at the point like I'm surprised that there's doctors that can't. No, you got to take it. By law, you have to let them walk in and I'm just surprised a little bit because it would be just. And I get doctors get the choice of getting paid and all this other stuff, but at the same time, when something's a government program and you're telling people you can go anywhere to do it, and then you can't, in theory, do that. I'm wondering, I'm surprised government doesn't penalize or do something to make it where basically anybody should be able to walk in any doctor and get treated with a government program in essence. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if the Medicare is covering 95% of whatever the cost of the procedure is, the doctor's likely to go along just as a public service.
Sure. Like I guess and maybe I don't know, and this is me being naive. Like say if someone has government assistance for like food stamps or something along those nature, if it's a grocery store, do they have the right to not accept those, or do they have to say, you know what? You're in a town, one grocery store town, you're on food stamps. Do they have no choice but to take them? Or
the way that works these days is it's all in a debit card.
Okay.
So many dollars are deposited into the debit card account.
Right.
So when they use that debit card, it's just like cash.
Gotcha. But I mean, do grocery stores have the right not to accept that?
It's just cash, so they would not refuse.
Okay, I didn't know if it was. I know when I hear like we accept EBT, WIC. I see that all the time.
But you can't use that for, I think, tobacco and booze.
Yeah, I know there's certain things you can and cannot buy with it, but I didn't know if a grocery store, and it is labeled as a grocery store, not a 7-Eleven or an Allsups or something, an actual grocery store. I didn't know if they had a right to refuse on that kind of thing.
It's a debit card with cash. That's how it operates these days.
Okay, I didn't know. I'm a little out of the loop on that kind of stuff. And the only reason I'm mentioning that because I kind of look at Medicare as almost that same, or Medicaid certainly, but is that same vein a little bit. It's like, hey, the government's saying we're going to help you with this. Anywhere that does that service, in theory, I would think has to accept that. So I don't know. But
well, had a thought and lost it. Sorry.
That's all right. It's Monday morning.
Should have written it down. Yeah, so that's one of the things I learned in my business. That stuff's on debit cards now.
Okay. I didn't. Yeah, I was just curious. I didn't know if that. And that's the only reason I brought it up because I kind of look in my head about what rights do the business owner have as far as accepting or not accepting these kind of things.
Well, so this stuff does come out of your paycheck. Okay, so sometimes I have clients in dire straits, and I tell them, so you go down and to the state office and see if you qualify for food stamps, see if you qualify for some kind of Medicaid.
Right.
And these people say, well, I kind of hate to do that. And I tell them, well, guess what's been coming out of your paycheck all these years?
This is why you pay these things, your taxes and your Social Security.
Part of your taxes go to Medicaid,
FICA.
Food stamps, WIC, all those government programs. Some of your money, you've been paying into that all these years, so when you need it, go get it. It's your damn money.
Yeah. That's why I'm a little bit, and I'm sure a lot of other people agree with this, a little skeeved about taxing on that. You're like, look, I already paid into this once. This is kind of a double dipping kind of scenario when you tax me on the way out with it too. I feel like I've already paid it as a tax to begin with. You know what I mean? I know the government looks at it differently, but I could see how a lot of people see it that way, because I think I'm kind of that way. I'm like, look, I already paid this once. It's my money. Give it back to me.
Yes, used to. It was if you were full retirement age and working, you could earn up to like $14,000 a year before it became taxable.
Gotcha.
So I don't know what it is these days.
Yeah.
But under full retirement age, if you make too much, then it's penalized and income taxable.
Well, did some of this change over the years too, when they realized that they got to do other things to make sure that people 20, 30, 40 years from us also have Social Security? Is that some of that what changed over time with some of that stuff? Or because I know when like Social Security came out now, we've all seen the debate. They're like, well, maybe Social Security won't support itself here in 30 years or whatever that number is.
Well, what happens is the Social Security taxes that you're paying right now are being paid out to people on Social Security.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's actually no bank account with your money in it.
Right.
So this is not you deposit your Social Security in an account and get it back later. It's a pay as somebody else goes.
Sure.
So we're paying for other people on Social Security. If there's not enough generations behind us to pay for ours,
right,
that's where we're going to get in trouble.
I didn't know if some of these, taxing on it later came in as a way to try to offset some of that cost kind of thing.
20 years ago, I felt Social Security at some point would be means tested.
Yeah.
And if you have enough other income, then your check's going to get reduced.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately they'll get close to that, something similar to that. They can't say zero. But they might if you got $1 million retirement income.
And I could see that too, because in all fairness, a person that's, making Trump money and living around, and that Social Security check is not even noticeable to that person.
It's insignificant.
So I can understand why that. Oh, okay, let's take that money and disperse it to someone that will truly need that money, as opposed to someone that I completely understand, and it should be that way.
So maybe it's 2 times the median income, or if your other retirement income is 2 times the median income, or 3 times, and they'll start reducing it. They'll have some kind of formula.
Sure.
But I think that's one of the things they will end up doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So really, as far as legal advice going, I mean, obviously talking to an expert with disability and all that stuff, that's key here. But
on that, yeah.
But I mean, at what point do lawyers need to get involved when it comes to Social Security and things? Is when you're being denied benefits? Is that at that stage, or is there a sooner point you should be talking to a lawyer about some of this stuff?
Talk to a disability attorney about disability. After that, you really don't need an attorney. Probably just call the senator's office and talk to them.
Gotcha.
But there's at least one insurance company in town that knows a whole lot about this stuff. And
Okay.
so I do refer people to them.
Okay. But like if you're questioning the numbers, that is that when you talk to a lawyer, or is that when you're talking to a senator or somebody?
Yeah, talk to the senator's office.
Okay.
Yeah. So the amount of Social Security you receive depends on how much you paid in.
Okay.
Okay. So,
he's doing
making notes. So I had a lady one time come in. She had been a hairdresser for years and thought that the chemicals from hairdressing had given her fibromyalgia.
Okay.
And so she'd had, she'd rented space in somebody else, and then she got her own little place, and so she'd rent out spaces to other hairdressers. That's how that stuff works.
Gotcha.
And her husband's a school teacher. So her hairdressing business always reported a loss every year. And so that reduced his taxable income. Okay. So I don't care what she was, doing with the cash or checks that she was receiving from her hairdressing business. But when she reported a loss, that means she wasn't paying income tax, wasn't paying Social Security or Medicare tax.
Gotcha.
And so now when she wants to be on disability, it's like, sorry, you never paid in.
So in essence, she don't get to enjoy those benefits.
She didn't get disability.
Okay.
Now, the other one is called old age, retirement. So she could, when she reaches that age, get some benefits based upon her husband's earnings.
Okay.
But she didn't have her own earnings. So you don't put in, you don't get out.
Gotcha. And I would imagine, too, this is like, and I'm guessing it's been a little bit since seen one, but when, like, every once in a while, but usually a year or so, you get that letter from the government saying basically how much you've paid in over your life and all that stuff. And that's that letter kind of telling you, what kind of numbers you put in and what kind of numbers you can expect when you hit the age is appropriate to collect some of these.
And you can set up on my Social Security account and get that same information.
Yeah. I just remember getting the letter like once a year now, and I know modern technology lets you do that a lot quicker and things, but I just kind of remember getting that piece of mail every year. At first, you're like, you think it's a summons or you think it's something like, IRS, I got no money, something bad, and you open it's like, it's just the letter telling me, how much I paid in and how much, if I retire today, this is what I do, and da-da-da-da. Yeah.
So the other thing we see sometimes is husband self-employed and wife doesn't work. That's typically what it is. And so I'll see these folks in maybe a divorce setting, bankruptcy setting, maybe wills, that kind of stuff, and say, okay, well, and I find out, husband's self-employed. That's cool. And, ma'am, do you work? No, I don't work. You plan on working? Oh, no. I said, well, she gets income from the business, so she didn't have to work. I said, okay, do you get a W-2 or you just share the profit?
Right.
Oh, I just share the profits. The problem is the husband's name and Social Security number usually come first on the tax return.
Right.
And he's getting all the credit for the Social Security. She's not getting any.
Gotcha. Well, you funny you mentioned that. And again, I'm going back to my in-laws as an example, talking about, of course, he was a CPA for many years and things. But, and obviously my mother-in-law didn't work per se, you know what I mean? But what they did was basically she was made an employee. And she actually did work. She worked in the office and answered the phones and, filed paperwork and all that. So she was an employee, but that's how they set it up, where she was an actual employee of the company.
So she got W-2, so she paid in a Social Security.
Yeah. Even though she's the boss's wife and part of it, but, for those purposes, she's listed as whatever title they give her, assistant or administrator, or I don't know.
That's smart. That's smart. She could pay into the system.
Yeah.
So I had another lady come in one time, and she had retired early. I think she started working for the school system at age 18 or something. So she retired at 45, and I was talking to her. She was in her early 50s, and I said to her, you haven't worked the last 10 years? Oh, no. Do you plan on working the next 10 years? Oh, no, I'll just apply for Social Security at the earliest possible time.
Yeah.
And I said, you have to work so many quarters in order to be eligible to receive
you got to put in to put out, take out.
Yeah. And she goes, yeah. Well, Mike, guess when they start counting those quarters?
Huh.
From the date you apply for Social Security backwards.
Really?
They take a 30-year average, and she was going to have 20 years with the zeros in her 30-year average.
That's not good.
Not good.
Yeah.
So I suggested she kind of think about that.
Gotcha.
So what is the earliest age at which you can apply for Social Security?
I don't know. I was thinking around 65 or so, but I don't know.
62. 62 is the earliest. But if you apply at 62 versus full retirement age, that's like a 20% reduction.
Oh, wow.
It's a permanent reduction.
Woo. So unless you're dire straits to that money, you might want to try to hold out to full retirement age.
Full retirement age.
Yeah.
Or I looked up my stuff this morning. If I delay taking Social Security till I'm 70, so from 66.4 to 70, if I delay till 70, that's a 29% increase.
Oh, wow.
Huge. Permanent increase.
Sure. Of course, this is all based on, your health and everything else. If you're
those are the factors you have to consider.
If you're looking at 62 and you're looking at there's no way I'm going to make 80. You know what I mean? You kind of, and so you're like, well, maybe now's the time to start doing that. But if you're like, no, I'm 62, 65 and spry and healthy, and I might live another 20 years, and maybe you want to hold on to that Social Security a little bit longer before you cash in on it. So
so your health at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in really bad health and you can't work, and that's the only source of income you might get is Social Security.
Yeah, obviously, and if you're about to lose everything, then maybe all right, you're gonna have to bite the bullet now because this is the option to help you now. But that being said, you got to know that you're going to get less money, and you're going to have to come up with another plan to offset whatever expenses you have to bring in some kind of income there. And I imagine, especially when you get on disability, you just can't go and get another job and things like that.
No, if you're on disability, you're not supposed to be
now,
working.
Social Security is another thing, but disability, if you're on that, you're not, that's kind of the income they give you is the income you're, and short of people, I guess, giving you money, you can't go and earn your own income.
Or very little.
Yeah.
So let's say husband and wife are both receiving Social Security checks. One of them passes away. What happens to the check? Does it still keep coming or does it stop?
I thought it still came, or a portion of it, depending. Maybe you don't get the full, but you get a partial, depending if you're married or not, I'm guessing.
The surviving spouse can choose the higher of the two checks.
Okay, so basically you get to pick whoever has the bigger check, and you get to bring that one in.
But the smaller check stops completely.
Okay.
And a lot of people aren't aware of that.
Okay.
So that always surprises me.
So
you don't know that?
I'm sure you take averages, but say the wife, and that's probably how usually it's the husband that dies first, or just to kind of, you do the math here. Yeah. And that's statistically, that's how it goes. And so, and also statistically, it's usually the male that probably had the higher income over those years, and in essence would get the bigger Social Security checks.
Right.
Odds are it's usually the husband, but that's not always the case.
Not always.
But generally speaking, that's probably. And I'm curious if that pattern changes over time. Like you obviously, like 20 years ago, that was probably almost unheard of to have a female with a bigger, you know what I mean?
Right.
And now, times have changed a little bit. So you probably see more and more. And I imagine in another 20, 30 years, I wonder if that gap goes away altogether,
I have no idea.
That was just me thinking, gee whiz, curiosity out of social and everything else, and how the lay of the land has changed, where, we went from the 50s where it looked like beaver and mom stays home and takes care of the kids, and Ward goes off to work and comes home with the cigar and the slippers and the whole 9 yards, to now, everybody and their uncles win and they scream around and get, I'm just curious how that's changed and how those proportions are going to change as far as who's the bigger retirement and who's getting them. I'm just, as a study of people, that's a stat in my head. I'd be very curious to see it change and trend over the years,
Hard to know.
Yeah.
Women traditionally make less than men, which is, not fair, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
Women generally are more cautious investors than men. They've done studies that women don't invest as much because they're risk adverse.
Right.
Men tend to invest more, but that's because they like playing poker kind of thing.
Sure.
Sometimes. So women need to save more.
Sure.
They need to have their own retirement.
Sure.
They need to look after themselves.
Plus, I would even throw the gender for older, for generationally. We talk about gender, like you say, men generally invest in things, because I also think men were generally groomed to do that. Like when we were growing up, you teach women domestic stuff, and you know what I'm saying? And where the guys were like, you're going to be the one with the bills, so you need to learn about, and I know that doesn't apply today, but
Hope not, yeah.
But that's kind of, our parents, and that's kind of how they were raised.
That generation,
and so we're breaking that cycle a little bit. So and again, this is back to me curious if those numbers shifting, where I'm very curious to see where maybe it's not the male in families that's the big earner, where that shifts a little bit, where it's more 50-50 versus whatever it is right now.
So I had a friend worked in an oil and gas firm in Artesia. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And he asked, could I come down and give a little talk about wills, powers of attorney, getting all that kind of stuff straightened up.
Right.
So I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So mixture of men, mostly women, office workers. Some were bosses, some were secretaries, to different ages, all the way from the mid-20s to up to the mid-50s. And so I'm talking about estate planning, and, you got to plan for retirement and save your pennies. And I said, ladies, having a man is not a plan. And all those older women are all nodding their heads. That's for damn sure.
And the younger women are like, what are you talking about? That's not the plan to begin with. And so, that's I love that. But I just saw the time. Do we got a little time for some fact or fiction? I can't remember what you call it. I always remember fact or fiction.
Fiction and fact or Matt's Almanac.
There you go.
So the pediatrician is a children's doctor.
Yes.
And orthopedic has the same root word. And you think, well, what does an orthopedic have to do with kids, right?
Yeah.
But the orthopedic trains bones to be straight. And what do we do with children? We train them.
This is true.
So the root word for child and train is the same root word.
Interesting.
And that's the Greek mind. You train them. That's what you do with them.
Sure.
So I thought that's an interesting concept.
I love the fact because you're right, because that's in essence that's what kids are. I mean, that's what as parents that's our job, that's our thing. So to me but for the Greeks to kind of just mind meld that as one thing, I like that. That's pretty cool.
I think that's interesting. Yeah,
absolutely. Of course, folks, if you need legal advice, anything, family law, even financial advice, he's a lawyer by day, but he probably spends just as much time giving families financial advice as he does legal advice sometimes.
We do a little bit of everything, yeah.
But you can reach out. BristolLawOffice.com is the website, and you can go there and get an appointment scheduled. You can also call, too.
Yep. 625-5284.
Yeah, very good. And of course, his office is located right here in the J.P. White building in the 4th floor, but you just can't roll up into this building. So get an appointment, give him a call, ask some questions. Go to BristolLawOffice.com. And,
please
and the great thing about Matt is Matt will talk to you, and it could be just a 15-minute conversation, doesn't cost you a dime, or he'll tell you and say, you know what, no, this is more serious. We need to start something here. Let's whether it's a paperwork thing or something more serious. He's going to be the one that tells you when all that's necessary, or if it's just no, you just need to go to the clerk's office, fill out a simple form or something, you're good to go.
Yeah, Well, we help people fill out forms all the time for family law, probate, different things, and it doesn't hurt my feelings to help people fill out forms.
Sure,
I think that makes the law more accessible.
Well, and then the theory too is that if things are more serious down the road, you're going to come back and see, help with the little stuff, and then hopefully. Hopefully they don't need it, but if they do, you're coming back to help them.
But at some point, generally there's one or two little things they'll need help on. But
absolutely.
Thank you, Mike. I enjoyed it today.
Anytime. It's always fun. Maybe we should wing it every time.
Why not?
That's been half my life doing that.
I have these nightmares one morning. I'm going to walk in and say, I don't have anything.
We'd still figure it out. We'd still come up with 30 minutes of something we'd find. I just know we would. So thank you, Matt. Appreciate the visit.
You, Mike.
We'll see you next time.
See you.
All right, it's 7:56. Quick Chaves County sports update, and then with Eric Butler, and then we'll do a quick break before news. Don't go away.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Report. Well, it looks like the Southwest Classic Baseball Tournament is a round-robin tournament hosted by Goddard was pared down a little bit because, for one thing, we didn't see Moriarty anywhere on the schedule. Both Roswell and Goddard were scheduled to play Moriarty on Friday. So here's what we did have. It was Roswell against Goddard. Surprised? On Saturday, Roswell won that one by a score of 8-0. And Roswell's right back into action today at Organ Mountain in Las Cruces for a doubleheader. That starts at 4 o'clock. Organ Mountain is 5-1. Now, prior to Goddard playing Roswell, the Rockets did defeat Ruidoso 10-1 on Saturday. Their next game will be against Clovis, tournament action Thursday at 10 a.m. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
This time of year, we all like to have fun talking about four-leaf clovers, rabbit's feet, and the luck of the Irish. But when it comes to finding a nice pre-owned vehicle you can really count on, you need more than just luck. You need a dealer like Roswell Ford. Here at the Tailgate Nation, we have the best selection of pre-owned vehicles in southeastern New Mexico. Great-looking late-model pickups, SUVs, sports cars, and family sedans. But more important than how they look is how they run, so Roswell Ford puts every one through a rigorous 139-point inspection. On top of that, Roswell Ford gives you a 3-day money-back guarantee, so if you find something you don't like, you can just bring it back. That's a lot more than luck. That's true peace of mind. And if you really have a nice car or truck you'd like to sell, please bring it by. We'll look it over and make you an offer on the spot. So when you're ready to move up to a newer vehicle, don't take chances. Come see your friends at Roswell Ford, the Tailgate Nation, at the corner of 9th and Main, and leave your rabbit's foot at home.
At Anderson Bethany Funeral Home and Crematorium, we honor and pay tribute to the achievements of your loved one by celebrating the life you shared together. Anderson Bethany Funeral Home and Crematorium is compassionate and cares about our local community and the families we serve here in southeastern New Mexico. Locally owned and operated, we will be here to help you decide how to celebrate the bond you've shared and pay tribute to the unique individual you've lost. Visit us at 2609 South Main in Roswell or call 622-5888.
Mays Lumber has all the hard-to-find hardwood you've been looking for. Oak, cherry, walnut, poplar, and maple. Plus, hard-to-find exotic woods like purple heart, zebra wood, ambrosia maple, black limba, and bloodwood. Perfect for that one-of-a-kind gift piece or table. Get ready with Formica and Wilson Art countertops in 12-footer custom length with installation available. Make it happen at Mays Lumber, 115 South Virginia in Roswell, serving southeastern New Mexico and beyond since 1934.
On air and online, this is Roswell's home for talk radio, KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The resistance fierce as Russian troops continue their bloody, slow-speed drive toward the Ukrainian capital, Kiev. An apartment building targeted by an airstrike sparked a raging fire, left at least one civilian dead. Ukrainian forces hit a Russian military convoy. Amid all of this, fresh round of peace talks now underway. The BBC's Jenny Hill.
It's really difficult from here in Moscow to concede that Russia is genuinely serious about these talks, and I base that upon several facts. First of all, we have heard upbeat assessments from the Russian side in recent days. One member of the delegation saying, for example, that the positions of both sides have got closer during the rounds of talks. But Vladimir Putin, of course, has to reassure Russians that his so-called special military operation isn't going to last forever. Russian families are increasingly being told that their sons, their brothers, their husbands aren't coming home because they've lost their lives fighting.
China denies U.S. reports that its ally Russia has been asking Beijing for military as well as economic assistance. Well, there is a killer on the roam, and he has New York City's Mayor Eric Adams urging the homeless to get off the streets.
Video is chilling to see a cold-blooded act of murder.
And the same gunman believed to be responsible for deadly attacks on homeless men sleeping in the streets of New York City as well as in Washington, D.C. 2 people dead, several others wounded. After 6 long weeks, Tom Brady is retiring from retirement.
The NFL's all-time leader in touchdown passes and passing yards has announced he's returning to the Buccaneers for a 23rd season, saying on social media that he has unfinished business.
That's correspondent Dave Ferry watching Wall Street. The Dow is up 198 points, so the NASDAQ trading 32 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, I'm cute kid number 1. And I'm cute kid number 2. And we have been forced, you mean hired? We have been hired to tell you what direct lender FOMO is. So let's say you buy a new home, and maybe you use one of those big mortgage monsters.
Or someone your realtor or friend recommends.
And then a few months later, you hear us being forced, hired
to tell you about our mortgage team's direct lender advantage.
And then you feel like you missed out.
Because you probably did miss out.
And that is direct lender FOMO.
It's Ryan, and our mortgage team is an arm of a bigger company who is a direct lender, which means our company gets to use its own money and make its own decisions within its own walls. There's no middleman. This often allows us to get you a better rate on that new home mortgage, saving you monthly and lifelong money. We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Melville Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage maker. For all licensing information, go to NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1339. Racket NMLS number 65233. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
Hong Kong stock index plunged 5.4% after the neighboring city of Shenzhen was ordered to shut down to combat China's worst COVID outbreak in 2 years. Stocks were mixed elsewhere in Asia. Oil prices fell. Against a backdrop of uncertainty from the war in Ukraine, Chinese shares have come under selling pressure from the threat of delistings of major Chinese companies on U.S. stock exchanges. The spreading outbreak of coronavirus in China also adding to worries over supply chain issues. Strong, shallow underwater earthquakes have shaken western Indonesia and the Philippine capital region. No serious damage reported, and there is no tsunami threat. The magnitude 6.7 quake in Indonesia was felt in many parts of Sumatra Island before dawn today. The Philippine quake was 6.4 magnitude. It shook parts of the Manila region and outlying provinces at dawn. News and analysis, townhall.com. The Virginia General Assembly approves legislation aimed at toughening the penalty for stealing catalytic converters.
The emission control devices are popular targets for thieves to cut out of a vehicle's exhaust system as prices for the precious metals they contain have skyrocketed. The legislation makes tampering with or stealing a catalytic converter a Class 6 felony, which is punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Stealing a converter is currently a misdemeanor. The legislation now goes to Governor Glenn Youngkin for his consideration. Rhonda Rockster reporting.
Former President Obama announcing that he has tested positive for COVID-19. The former president taking to Twitter says that in recent days he's had a scratchy throat, but says that otherwise he feels just fine. Mr. Obama adding that wife Michelle has tested negative for COVID-19. And once again on Wall Street, the Dow is up 223 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. Rhythm, ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2. I don't know if I have anybody available. I think Sean's on air. And so I will just... Oh, here comes a Tanner Deuce for us. So.
The Deuce.
Thank you very much. Welcome to hour number 2, The Deuce. Thank you, Tanner, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday. Happy Spring Break Monday for the kiddos and everybody. They're probably not listening. They're probably looking at the back of their eyelids still. If I were you, I would, especially since it's time change week and everyone's internal clocks are all goofed up. Like, it don't feel like 8 o'clock. You're like, it's 7 o'clock.
What did I miss?
Tanner deuced you.
Oh. Surrogate deuce?
Yeah, you got a surrogate deuce.
Nice.
We're good to go. But, yeah, I know all of our brains are in a fog this morning.
It's not even my brain. It's my computer.
Yeah, you're having computer issues. I think time change must have messed up all their software. I bet that's what it is.
And I've tried turning the unit off and on again, so before you ask.
I think the software of which you are using,
yeah,
I bet there's someone somewhere in wherever their servers are residing, and they're dealing with time change issues or something. I just got a feeling it's all connected.
Right.
Like, by the way, in case you hadn't heard, Tom Brady said he's not retiring now.
Yeah, he's unretiring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to bet. Here's what I think happened. Him and Bruce Arians had a tiff.
Okay.
The head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had a tiff. After the playoff loss, they thought they're going to win a Super Bowl. They thought they were going to cruise into a Super Bowl, and they got their lunch handed to them one day. And I think the coach and Tom Brady had a little, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. I think they had a little thing. They had a little squabble, and Tom Brady said, well, I'm going to take my ball and go home. And that's what he did.
Okay.
And then they had lunch. They manned up. They went and shot stuff out in the woods.
Hugged it out.
They hugged it out. They did something.
Right.
And now Tom Brady's back. That's my prediction.
I have other theories.
Okay.
My theory is actually something that Gene nailed last night, and that's Tom Brady realizes it's easier to be hit by 300-pound linemen than stay at home all day with your wife and kids. That's exactly what it is. He's like, oh, God, this is going to be forever now.
Giselle, his wife there? Yeah, you think that's a little too...
Giselle and the kids.
Is she working? Like, is she doing any America's Got Talent or anything anymore? I don't know if she's done any of that stuff.
I don't know. I assume that she...
Is she still on that show? I don't even know.
I think she might be. I don't watch.
I think Simon's still on that show, right? Simon's there.
Probably. I literally haven't watched like Got Talent.
Like Terry Crews is like announcing it now instead of... But
yeah, I knew Terry Crews was
is
the new...
Mel B still there? Did she leave? I don't even know who's
Terry Crews is the new Nick Cannon. Let me see.
I know Simon Cowell replaced Howard Stern when he left. And I think he's still there.
Let's see. The current roster is okay. No, it's looks like. Wow. Okay, so it looks like Simon, Sofia Vergara, Heidi Klum, and Howie Mandel.
Oh, okay.
And then Terry Crews and Mel B also. And this might actually just be all of them.
Okay. All right. I got Heidi Klum and Giselle mixed up.
Yeah.
Heidi Klum's. What's Giselle?
She's a model.
But wasn't she a judge on one of those shows too?
Probably like Germany's Got Talent. I don't know if
Top Model or something. I don't know.
Let's see. What does Giselle do? Giselle Bündchen.
Yeah, what is she? Or is she just doing charity work now, or what is she doing? She on like a Real Housewives of Tampa show or something? I don't know. Is that out? I have no idea.
She's a fashion model since 2001. She's been one of the highest paid models in the world. In 2007, Bündchen was the 16th richest woman in the entertainment industry and earned a top spot in Forbes' top earning models list in 2012.
Okay.
So I'm guessing she's just hanging out and enjoying some of that Giselle money.
What?
I mean, Brady's
combined with Tom Brady.
Yeah, it's like Brady's pulling in a healthy dose.
I would say Tom Brady ain't hurting either. I'm sure.
Ain't neither one of them hurting to put cheese on their Whopper.
Now I'm kind of curious, who's the bigger earner? Is it Tom Brady?
Right now?
I'm thinking.
I'm sure Tom Brady.
But who knows? I mean, Giselle might be... I have no idea in those modeling worlds.
I'll say this. They are stumbling over themselves to set records for new contracts. Like Aaron Rodgers' new contract apparently is supposedly the highest in NFL history.
Oh, that's always the case.
But that's what I'm saying. So I guarantee if Tom Brady's, getting an offer for a year or however long it is.
I don't think he's still under contract. I don't think his contract had ended. He was still under contract. So he's going to get paid whatever his contract. He just retired and decided to end the contract. But I'm sure now they said, psych. I'm just kidding.
So if he ends his contract, though, doesn't that leave him like in
I'm
a position
sure with Tampa Bay and they agreed
to renegotiate? I would think at some point.
I think no, because I'm sure he probably would have had to pay some kind of clause to end the contract early, and all that just goes away now. They just say, forget about that. I'm sure at some point he said, no, you were supposed to be here for 5 years or 2 years. You're only due part of that commitment. We're going to want some money back. I'm sure that's probably how that would have worked out but now all that goes away is what happens. That's how all that works. And
just at what point can it just be enough? Like you've got hundreds of millions, potentially billions.
I think Tom Brady's a guy that he figured out, I don't know what to do with myself too. I think he plays because he wants to play.
Yeah, but you could afford any hobby if you wanted to get into like competitive drone racing.
Sure.
And just put all your time into that.
He's just not ready to do that.
If he wanted to go and become a pro wrestler, he could just put all his time into that. Like you have time and money.
He does.
I would think that's the most valuable asset you have.
And what he wants to do is play football. I mean, that's what he loves.
I guess, man.
And I understand because I'm sure for those athletes, that's in essence admitting you're old when you retire. Right. Even though you're retiring, those athletes retire at younger than any other retirement in especially NFL.
He could be the highest paid commentator in the history of the NFL right now. If he decided to just hang it up.
Here's the thing with Tom. I don't know if he wants that. I mean, think about it. Tom is not a public dude for the most part.
True.
He doesn't do a lot of endorsements.
No.
I mean, he does a couple here and there, but when he does it, he's not giving soliloquies. It's always one word, what hurts or one of the ones where he's doing right now. It's just him walking around and getting in and out of cars, and I think he says one or two things, but maybe that's not his forte. Maybe he gets in front of people and he's a mush mouth. I don't know.
Could be. It could very well be.
But I think at the end of the day, he's just doing. I don't think he wanted to retire to begin with. I think him and Arians had a thing, And he said, I'm going to take my ball and go home, and then they worked it out. I don't think he wanted to retire to begin with. That's why it was so muddy about that. I think Dad got in there and said, yeah, son, you should just quit that guy. And he said, I think I will, Dad. And then Dad runs out and says, my boy's retiring. And you're like, Dad, wait a minute, Dad. I think this is all that went down in behind scenes. I really think something like that happened. And they made nice and made up, and now here we are again. That's what I think.
The man gets to have more than one funeral, though.
And I'm sure Gronk was like, "Come on, Tommy. Come on, Tommy. We're gonna. I want to play another year.
My entire usefulness is on your shoulders. Please."
I came to Tampa Bay here. My USA commercials dry out.
That's exactly what happened. Gronk got in his ear and said, "Look, I made some real bad investments. All right, me and Ryan Lochte bought a chain of kayak rental places over in Kuwait.
CBD hemp canoes.
It was a bad investment, but this guy got in our ear.
Yeah. We're making canoes out of hemp, and that didn't work.
I have no relevance without you, Tommy. Come back."
Yeah, that might be true too.
That's got to be what it is.
That might be part of the equation as well too. Just saying here. So let me give you the rundown of what's on tap for this hour of the show. We'll get you up to date with weather and all that here in just a bit. Amy McVeigh-Tejas with the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico to join us here in just a little bit. We're going to talk scholarships. 'Tis the season. I believe, I think it's end of the month is when you got to get your April 1, I think is when the deadline for all the scholarships getting turned in and all that. It's either March 31st or April 1, I don't remember, but it's the end of the month here. So we're going to have Amy join us. We'll chit-chat, get an update on what's happening with the Historical Society as well. So that's coming up in just a little bit. Later on, we'll get you up to date with the news of the local variety, of course, your town hall business, and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show. Before we do any of that, though, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. The big deal today will be the gusty wind as high as 45 miles per hour. We'll get mostly sunny skies and our afternoon high in the mid-60s. For the overnight hours, down to 30. The wind will be calming down a little bit. Skies will be clear and then not as windy on Tuesday. Sunshine and we're back to the mid-70s. Looks like we'll hit the 80-degree mark with fair weather on Wednesday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 54 degrees. It actually was kind of nice this morning. It wasn't, I remember coming into work and it was warmer. It was a little breezy, but I remember just having my light coat on and walking the alley and everything to get into the building this morning. And I was thinking, man, it's kind of pleasant out. I kind of like, it was one of those mornings I just, like if I had nothing to do, I think I'd want to sit on a bench and just kind of, feel the weather and watch. It was just one of those mornings. It was cool to sit in for a couple minutes, but I had to go to work, so didn't get to do that. But it was like one of those mornings. But we're already mid-50s here in the 8 o'clock hour. Humidity is low at 16%. Winds are a little breezy out of the west, 14 miles per hour. Sunny today, mid-60s. 66 officially our high today, but winds are going to be picking up later today. They're out of the north this morning, 15 to 20. But later this afternoon, those winds are going to increase 20 to 30. Gusting as high as 40 miles per hour later today. Skies will be clear tonight with an overnight low of 30 degrees. Winds will be out of the northwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour. They will decrease down 5 to 10 after midnight tonight. For you Tuesday, a little warmer tomorrow, mid-70s, sunny 74 officially, northwest winds 5 to 10 in the morning, shifting to the south, picking up 10 to 15 miles per hour for Tuesday afternoon. Tomorrow night, skies will be mostly clear with an overnight low of 36. Winds out of the south, 10 to 15 miles per hour. For you Wednesday, we're going to be in the 80s. Mostly sunny, highs around 81. Winds will be out of the northwest, 5 to 10 early. Southwest, 10 to 15 for Wednesday afternoon. Mostly clear Wednesday night with an overnight low of 44. And then Thursday, there's a 20% chance of some rain showers for the afternoon. There's an 80% chance of no rain showers for the afternoon, but a 20% chance of rain showers for the afternoon. Sunny with a high of 67. Friday, sunny, highs around 63. And then Saturday, warmer, 74 and sunny on Saturday. Sunday, breezy and sunny with a high of 81. So a little roller coastery, 60s, 70s, 80s, 60s all week. A little bit of wind, but I think for us, that's spring in southeast New Mexico. That's atypical spring weather. Perfect for baseball, windy baseball games in the afternoon. All right, it is 18 minutes after 8 o'clock. We're going to take a commercial break here. Amy Viveteus with the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico is scheduled to join us in just a bit. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
This time of year, we all like to have fun talking about four-leaf clovers, rabbit's feet, and the luck of the Irish. But when it comes to finding a nice pre-owned vehicle you can really count on, you need more than just luck. You need a dealer like Roswell Ford. Here at the Tailgate Nation, we have the best selection of pre-owned vehicles in southeastern New Mexico. Great-looking late-model pickups, SUVs, sports cars, and family sedans. But more important than how they look is how they run, so Roswell Ford puts every one through a rigorous 139-point inspection. On top of that, Roswell Ford gives you a 3-day money-back guarantee, so if you find something you don't like, you can just bring it back. That's a lot more than luck. That's true peace of mind. And if you really have a nice car or truck you'd like to sell, please bring it by. We'll look it over and make you an offer on the spot. So when you're ready to move up to a newer vehicle, don't take chances. Come see your friends at Roswell Ford, the Tailgate Nation, at the corner of 9th and Main, and leave your rabbit's foot at home.
If your tires are flat, need your car fixed, our reviews are better than mixed at Big O. At Big O Tires. We do the job fast and with a smile. Whatever the problem, we go the extra mile at Big O. At Big O Tires. Trusted service, no need to lie. Hop online, our reviews are high at Big O. At Big O Tires. Unbeatable service in all our stores. That's why we get such high scores at Big O. At Big O Tires.
You can trust the team at Big O Tires for great service and even better deals. Come in today and save up to $100 instantly on select in-stock sets of Cooper, Nitto, and Pirelli brand tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Installation charges extra, required on all 4 tires. Disposal fees extra and up to 10% shop fee based on non-discounted regular retail price not to exceed $35 where permitted. Not valid with other offers. Valid at participating locations. Expires 3/27/2022.
Attention high school students, would you like more information on the most affordable 4-year university in New Mexico? Then RSVP today to our Eastern New Mexico University Open House Preview Day, Saturday, March 26th. At ENMU Open House, you will have a chance to win great prizes, such as an iPad and a $500 scholarship. Get more information about admissions and scholarships. Meet with ENMU faculty. Find out more about potential majors and get a specialized campus tour from ENMU students. Sign up today at enmu.edu/open house. Explore, experience, excel. Eastern New Mexico University.
For people suffering with joint pain, simple movement feels like just taking a step feels like, and lifting your arm can feel like. Don't let joint pain be in charge of your life. The skilled orthopedic experts at Loveless Medical Group SCORE are helping more people take back their lives with some of the most advanced surgeries in the region. We're doing more than restoring joints, we're restoring lives. Call Loveless Medical Group SCORE today at 575-625-3300 so life can feel like,
Time to put your money where your mouth is. The March Mania Slam Dunk Savings Event is on at Roswell Honda. Saturday, March 19th from 10 to 1, the hoop will be set up at Roswell Honda. Shoot for up to $1,000 discount. Enjoy free food and drinks, fun for the whole family, and register to win a 54-inch Spalding portable basketball hoop. 1 entry for stopping by, 3 entries with a test driver service, and 5 entries with a purchase. Drawing March 19th at 1, must be present to win. Score big during the Slam Dunk Savings Event at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more. When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it. We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors. Whether they are in the mountains of New Mexico, the plains of Nebraska and Kansas, the ranches of Oklahoma and Texas, the farmlands of Missouri and Arkansas, or the bayous of Louisiana, we are here for our hometowns. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Army National Guard. Aired by the New Mexico Broadcasters Association and this station.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. 95% of people text things they could never say in person. Check your text messages. We just sent you something. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 23 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico, Amy McVeigh is back with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. How's your weekend?
It was good.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
And then a lot of basketball. So there you go.
Yes.
Hey, and Hook'em Horns, my Longhorn ladies. Woo! We're the big champs.
Yeah. So are you moved on from basketball now? And now that I know high school's done and everything, college is still going.
We
March
just love
Madness,
this time of the year. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a softball player all my life. Love the Art Sandoval's
I was gonna
texting
say,
us from Oklahoma, and we're like, oh, come on, Art. That is so
I
cool.
was going to say, I didn't know if your attention's turned to more baseball, softball. a little bit.
All of it.
Okay.
All of it. We just think, we've got some local kids, and we're just so happy they're playing and doing and everything.
Doing
so
what you're
it's a fun amount of time.
Yeah.
It's a fun time to. That's why you and I were talking next week. And I said, I've got to come in and let's get these kids while they're on spring break applying for scholarships while they're doing all these amazing other things.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is this is the time. This is official sweet spot time.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in procrastination level yet, but you're weeks away from being a procrastinator.
That's right.
I believe you have through the end of this month to get your applications. Is it April 1 or March 31st?
It's April 1.
Okay, I couldn't remember earlier when I was trying to say it's either March 31st or April 1. I can't remember, but that's the end date right there at the end of the month.
And I want to congratulate all the kids that were accepted to the Teen Leadership Institute. I think we're right around 30, Mike.
Good deal.
And the cool thing is, I think almost half of them will get scholarships or some ratio
There's
like
been enough
that. Pretty darn close. Yes.
So where we can help out there a lot.
Huge thank you to everybody down in Artesia that
Good
helped
deal.
support.
We had
Thank you
some
to the
folks down south.
Chase Foundation came through right at the end, and it was like, boom, we got to add scholarships. So we want to thank every single, I don't have a sponsorship list in front of me, but every darn person, including the Mexico Military Institute. It's just a great opportunity. But those kids, if we've talked to you and you're accepted to Teen Leadership Institute, why don't you apply for these scholarships too?
Absolutely. Yeah, for those kids that did go to the program or are going to participate or didn't. Maybe you meant to apply and you missed the deadline and didn't get a chance to do it. Well, another opportunity. Thank you. Thanks through some of our generous supporters and things at the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico. We've been able to provide scholarships here. You know, we have the Linda Hayes Trust. That's something.
I hope you're listening, Troy.
Yeah.
Because without you and the legacy of your wife, we wouldn't be able to be doing this.
The Hayes family have been actively partnering with us.
Yes.
Over these last, I don't know, how many years?
Almost from the beginning, but not from the beginning.
Yeah.
Somebody said, they've been from the beginning. Well, I'm proud to say they jumped on that train, but they didn't help start the train.
Yeah.
But they're part of the train.
But
that train is
that
moving.
train has kept going because of
100%.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So thanks to their family and their, where they took, in essence, taking something that's tragic for them and turning it into a positive by honoring the legacy of their family member and ensuring that the legacy of their family continues to help people long after family members are walking the earth with us here.
Wow.
And so every year it's more and more. Every year it seems like more money gets donated, more kids get to take advantage of this scholarship, and this year is no different here. We've got quite a bit of money that's going to be available to these kids that apply. There's multiple scholarships. So if you're a history buff, awesome. If you're into arts, if you're a person of character,
humanities and arts.
Humanities. It's not all just history. It's, some STEM, some humanities. Character is a big one as part of us as well, too. So if you display these desires or these qualities, then we want you to apply. If you're this is open to high school seniors.
High school seniors.
To fill it out. And it doesn't matter if you live here or in Tucumcari or wherever. We got kids from all over the state that have been applying for this scholarship over the years.
And we love to challenge those surrounding communities because I'm going to say they're almost challenging our locals. It's kind of up to a balance. We've had so many Dexter and other areas that we need Roswell to step up too.
Yeah.
You know, these amazing students around here don't take these things for granted. These kids around these little communities. Dexter's a prime example. There's been many years in the past when Dexter is part of it, and these private schools.
But then we even get kids from like these little historic areas, you know, Fort Sumner, Lincoln, those areas where they've been kind of lucky and grew up areas where, and we all are if you look, but where you could really throw a rock and there's a piece of history sitting next to you. You know, that's kind of. I'm one of those lucky people growing up in the Maryland, D.C. area. History was all around me. And that's got to be. But you know, kids, I gotta imagine growing up in Lincoln or Fort Sumner or one of these towns that are known for a significant historical event. I imagine they get because a lot of us don't always necessarily appreciate what's in our own backyard sometimes. But then again, also you're generally more expert in those things because you grew up around it too.
Right.
And so I'm just curious. So we do get a lot of kids that live in those historical towns that we live in that do apply. But yeah, we get kids all over. So apply. If you're a high school senior and you're a person of character, maybe you're going for a history or humanities or STEM related stuff.
Or more than one.
Yeah.
And a perfect example, I was texting and communicating with Tyler Whitaker. If you're here, I hope you're listening. He's an amazing example. He got one of our scholarships through the history category, and he's never not been a part of the society. But on the flip side, we need to remind individuals, you don't have to like history to impact our history and be part of the historical society. let me say that again.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a history major to impact the history of our area.
Well, it's you know what? Candy Spence-Zell, a state representative here, she has a saying, if you eat food, you're involved in ag industry.
That's right.
If you're breathing,
that's right.
You're part of history.
100%. We've said that. And I think, Mike, we were talking about it. It absolutely looks like we're going to be able to work things out and have fourth grade school tours, which is a goosebumpy moment for me. That's when but it's at that moment, Mike, when those little fourth graders look in your eyes and they realize, I'm part of history, me?
Yeah.
Oh, this is how it started, and now I'm part of this?
Sure.
And if there's power in our locals to make those connections so that at that age they'll realize how significant they are, and they have to consider coming back to Roswell.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's powerful. And we love to embrace every community, every child, and that's the good part. But we want to encourage these kids. There is something to be said about applying early. So apply today.
Yeah.
You can go to roswellnmhistory.org. You will see they're all the Google Docs.
Yeah, you can see all the scholarship opportunities.
And they're big scholarships. So 2 in each category, 2 in humanities and arts, 2 in STEM, and 2 in character for $1,250. That's a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And even if you're challenged in one way or another and think, I can't, with so many wonderful things going on in the state of New Mexico, there's great opportunities for schooling and college.
Absolutely.
But this single-handedly right here could sure help you right out here at our local amazingness, right here.
Yeah.
Speaking about amazingness, we have it right out here at our base.
Yeah.
And they support almost everything we do, and that is ENMUR.
Absolutely.
We can never thank them enough. They're part of the Historical Society. Every time the TLI Fund, what are they doing? They're helping. It's Historical Society. They're a part of everything.
They're a community
They
entity.
are. And I would think it's amazing for one of these kids that can go right back out there.
Sure.
So apply today.
But be understanding these scholarships are good wherever you go. You're not obligated to go to Eastern or any.
These checks will go directly to you, and that's something I want to thank Troy for personal.
I guess an accredited institution.
That's
where
right.
It'll go,
Personal. So. Well, and you know what else? Troy has said that whatever the need is, these checks.
Yeah.
And we've heard of these things. Troy always gives this example of a kid that was on a full ride and couldn't afford to get where. That's a perfect example.
And this is exactly why we have this.
Exactly. Those checks will go directly to the students.
And you talk about ENMUR, they're the same way. They're a college that serve our needs of this community. Yes. So if our businesses and our nonprofits and our education and all of our community need programs that better suit our community, ENMUR is always the ones that create and make that happen.
Right.
So that's something I love. That's
for sure.
That's something that's different. What ENMUR or a college like it provides than versus going to UNM or an established, whatever Harvard or whatever it is. That college is. I mean, it uses the lay of the land. Fortunately, it's an old Air Force base. So
talk about history,
drones, aviation industry. All that's very much part of the fabric of that college, and that's why it's got a unique role of getting pilot's license, doing those things that other colleges of that level don't do.
People travel all over the world to go back to our amazing air base, and I hope those kids don't take that for granted too.
Absolutely.
They're on very sovereign historical area.
Yeah.
Also, if you're listening and you think, I'm not listening because I don't have anything to do with scholarships, and that's not. I've been there, done that.
But you have family members or friends.
You have
that do.
family members, or you may have the golden opportunity to allow us to give out one more scholarship.
Maybe you got a coworker that has a kid that's around a senior in high school.
So
if
you're a business and you could call and say, you know what, these kids have had some challenging years.
Sure.
Boy, have they. Talk about character. To me, the majority of all these students, if you're in school right now, you've exemplified character.
Sure.
You've made it here. Mm-hmm. You've done everything you had to do to make it here. So if you're listening and can make another scholarship possible, which we've had that happen.
We'd love to have you.
We've had that happen.
Sure.
So
and this is kind of a good time of year
for that.
That's like
sugar on top, cherry on top.
It's kind of a good time of year for that because, thanks to the Hayes family and things, we're able to do these scholarships, but it also spreads the beacon where people are like, that's a great idea. I would love to help out. And then they call us up and say, hey, if I got you a couple grand, can you be the stewards of that to give out? And we do that for folks all the time.
I couldn't think of another way to honor or do a memoriam, if you will. I'll give you an example. We had some monies donated in celebration of the life of Judge Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Those went directly into scholarships, like with the Mexico Youth Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
What better way? We have lost some golden treasures lately, all ages, all so unique and special. What better way than to celebrate a life by giving life, if you will, and that would be education. So consider making a memorial tribute. We have a scholarship level membership. You could become a scholarship member and give another scholarship, and that is amazing. Yeah. It's not all about us. Don't get me started. We need to talk about times are hard for the Historical Society on a total different note.
We serve as a conduit for many other
things. We do.
That's kind of
if you give that as scholarship money, that's scholarship money. And yes, the other day, I hope you're listening, Jason. Jason walked right in the back door and he said, Amy, it's freezing in here. Well, it's freezing in there because I like it that way.
Saving the money.
And we're saving the money.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, that money that's given for scholarships, you're right. You can look at our financials every time.
Absolutely.
We may have a large amount for scholarship, and we may not have much else.
Sure.
That's still scholarship money. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Let's face it. We beat our heads against the wall trying to keep a very old and historic building, a beautiful building, but an old building nonetheless that needs to be maintained. And in ideal situation scenarios where we live in a perfect world and supply and demand's not crazy and goofy and all that, it's very expensive to maintain and to do that facility justice and preserving it the way it is for generations beyond us to go see that. It's a charge that it's not an easy charge because you've got to.
It's not.
When you do renovate, upgrade, build on that thing, you've got to try to keep it historically right. Which means material things in some cases aren't techniques that are done anymore or materials that are done anymore. And so once we even say, hey, we got the material, then we got to find the labor that can actually do that technique or what it is. There are so many X variables when it comes to maintaining and preserving
100%.
a historical
Our country
facility.
battles that all the time, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, if we put things off, let's be very clear.
Sure.
There's a thing called maintaining, but then there's a thing called if we put it off, it's going to come back. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, we're excited about scholarships. The downside is we're going to be cutting a check today to put a down payment to do more work on, the structure of our foundation.
Yeah, we have a foundation on an old building that has cracks in it and things,
And we're on part 2 or 3, or, that's not part 2. They've done what they've needed to do up to now. We did some, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We're doing more.
Yeah.
So in
and
a
that's
lump
really
sum,
all separate from the scholarships and
100%, 100%.
That's kind of our day job stuff, and this stuff is also...
we will never, it's like you say, it's a piece of the pie. We've got a big pie, and a huge part of it is celebrating our youth living by the mission, which we always living and breathing will. Our future is our future. We're going to invest in our kids through 4th grade school tours and scholarships.
Yeah.
Separate piece of the pie. That house is a very significant piece of that pie, and we will be investing in more foundational work in excess of over almost $35,000 today, and we need your help.
Yeah.
And
we don't worry, we're not done fundraising. We got some stuff.
Not.
But here in a couple of weeks, we'll probably announce some dates and things.
We're doing a lot of fundraising, Mike.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we're taking. Thank you for one thing. We're taking a lot of loose change drive containers around Roswell. I believe there's between 10 and 20 companies that said, I want a container. I'm delivering those today. So if you say, I can't cut a big check.
That's a great way to help
every
us.
pennies, we will even deliver the container. We've got the laminated little form showing loose change drive. Give us a call. We'd love to. And yes, if you ask for one, I'll be delivering those today. It's been crazy. So we'll be delivering loose change drive containers. That's the way, or even collect it at home. Do it as a family, or encourage your kids to know that you can save up to invest in something.
Absolutely.
And whether it's us or helping somewhere else, it's never about just about us.
Yeah.
We're always willing to help others.
But I know we just met last week here, so in the coming months, expect a couple events, another book fair coming up.
Yes.
We've got I'm not ready to release everything, but we got heritage dinner plans that we're going to unveil here pretty quick.
We're going to call it it's going to be a celebration of all the heritage dinners, and that's a really cool thing. So if you say, what in the heck is the heritage dinner? Maybe you're new to town or you don't even know. Please call the Historical Society. We have honored over the last 40 years amazingness. I like to use that word.
Yeah,
amazingness.
It's not just, sometimes it's an individual, sometimes it's a family, sometimes it's an organization or a business or something that's just part. I mean, we've done everything from like what you would call Excel, or we've done
or
that.
Dairy, or baseball,
the Lions World Series championship we've honored. Individuals, families. Rick Kraft was even an honoree many moons ago there too. One of the
and we've also lost some of these honorees, and we're going to take a moment to celebrate them, which I think that's a wonderful opportunity. So we're really excited. We do have a drive-through coming up, and it's going to be elevated.
Yeah.
That's a nice word.
But we'll talk more about that and stuff. But those are kind of fundraising stuff that we want to do for the house and things like that. But the scholarships are separate altogether. And that's all. And all of that money is through generous people that have set up and said, you know what, I want to give back. The Hayes family is obviously one of our major ones, but there are others that have stepped up and done the same thing too. And we're very appreciative of them. We've got some folks that have really, and this isn't even just scholarship, but we have some people. We joke about me and tights and all those kind of things. But thanks to some of those folks, we're able to do what we do too.
And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because Mike, one of our friends. Hello, our buddy from California that's, just had some challenges lately.
Yeah.
I want to say, if you're listening, Mike and I have been talking. He's working on one of the challenges.
Yes.
But
by the way, Carson Wentz being my quarterback now doesn't make me feel that excited about getting these things and much more anyway. I'm going to do it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Carson Wentz was a huge letdown from Russell Wilson, just saying. I was like, we're going after Russell Wilson. Yeah, we didn't get him. Here's Carson Wentz. Oh, all right.
Hey, Mike, it can always be worse. And you be proud.
I've seen worse.
Through our pinnacle of times, and hey, we all have them. But so we're working on that. But our buddy that's listening, let's put another challenge out there. Mike's done a lot of things. And maybe you just need a smile. I think you've had some challenges lately. I would love to partner with Mike, and let's give a smile. So we're working on one. And let's see what else we can come up with.
Yeah.
So give me a call. I'm all in.
Yeah, we're having
I'm
fun.
all in to make Mike do something crazy and make a imbecile out of himself.
Well, and that's what I think. It's all for fun. And at the end of the day, people learn about the good things, and they learn it because I did something stupid, then that's fine with that. I'm okay with
for
that.
you, right?
It is, but it is. This is my show, really. It is, because I say and do dumb things on this show in the hopes that you're entertained by it, and then you learn about scholarships at the Historical Society.
And we've had a lot of fun. You know
Yeah.
what, though, Mike? You may do crazy things, but at the end of the day, I've had the honor of you in more than one capacity to impact the life of others.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
And that's what
we
that-
can
it does.
laugh all we want, but we can laugh, bless, and help while having a good time. Blah, blah, blah.
Nothing makes me happier than when I hear someone say, man, when after we're talking to you on the radio, I had 20 people come to me and say something about my thing. And that makes me so happy because I'm like, good. Then what we did here today
And
was
with
the
that,
point of
this
that.
radio station, y'all make that happen. So through laughing and smiling, and by the way, Gene Dow, thank you for helping us down there.
Yeah, he
That's a
hired
cool
me, so
thing
he gets it too. If he didn't, obviously, I wouldn't be hanging around much
But I
longer,
love, we're all one big happy family, reaching out, helping. And that's a perfect, Gene is helping us, and he doesn't even know it, but he does. And
Sure.
thank you. I mean, we're all in this together.
Well, I think by just doing little acts of things that
Yes.
people do, you don't realize the footprint that you carry
Mm-hmm.
and the differences you make. And just because you did something little like bought the guy behind you a cup of coffee through the drive-thru or something like that, those little things are the difference. You know, you never know. That person behind you may have been ready to kill himself. You don't know.
You don't know.
And then that little act
don't
just
know.
said, you know what? I mean, I don't know how many times I hear people do random little acts of kindness, and it's not even hard stuff like buying someone lunch or giving someone the parking space.
Things we take for granted all the time.
And you don't realize that act of kindness just turned that person's day into something that was going god awful for them, and now they're like, you know what? Maybe they got a little faith in humanity again.
Yes,
Or they got, and that's the kind of stuff. If we all did one little thing like that,
For sure.
we'd be good to
Speaking
go.
of fun things, Mike, I want to remind people listening to mark their calendar for September the 17th.
Okay.
That's a date you're going to want to mark the calendar.
Okay.
We've got our, and we'll give more information, and I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag,
Sure,
if you
spill
will.
all the beans.
But the Living Museum is coming back.
Oh, good.
And that's really exciting.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, literally, they were doing research in our archive facility
Good.
on those hidden.
Another great organization
those
that does good
hidden
stuff.
gems. Man, they're really polishing off some gems and finding those hidden gems that you think I know all about. I've been here. No.
Which,
there's
by the
some
way,
hidden
I'm going to throw a
gems.
plug. If you've got a youth that loves and looking
Yes.
for opportunities, the
Yes.
Kids Arts Program, CAPS program,
Yes.
it's part of the Roswell Community Little Theater. On the surface, they have a bunch of kids and they learn theater and they learn all aspects of theater.
Yes.
At the surface, that's what the organization is, but it's so much deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is they're learning life skills, like you said.
are.
One of their big things, the Graveside Manor, where they go out to the
Right.
to the
I think that
cemetery
we'll
and
be
do the.
partnering with them with that next year.
Yeah.
So
But
that I
that's the
understand.
kind of stuff they do, and they've been
Yes.
partnering with us over the last couple of years doing some of these living history events and things.
Exciting.
So yes, they're learning theater. They're learning, not just how to act and how to sing, but how to do set design. They're learning all aspects
And
of
Mike,
it.
we're
But they're also
connecting-
learning about
We're
people.
connecting dots. The cool thing about that event,
Yeah.
then we're going to have Vitaliant out there all at the
Okay.
same time.
Blood Drive's doing
so
their
I've got to love it. So, we're intentional partnering with CAPS and the society to do fundraising, but also giving back in other capacities also. Another way, we've got a lot of events coming up. Graduation will be coming up and
Yeah.
things. Rent our archive facility, consider that. We've done some rented it out for people doing trainings.
Yeah.
Have a private reception this weekend and some fun things. It's a great opportunity. You can help us. We'll set it up. We'll do the cleaning.
Yeah.
And call 622-8333 for more information. If you're listening and get our newsletter and you have not renewed, memberships are down. And yes, Fred Boggs, if you're listening, he's the man looking at all that stuff. Our memberships are down.
Yeah.
Well, things have happened. Our newsletter went out a little bit late.
And people
and
are
now
cutting
guess what?
expenses, too.
They're cutting expenses, but every little bit counts. And even if you can renew as low as $30,
Yes, for as little as
you'll help
$30,
us.
you can be a
100%.
member, and all of that helps.
Just
keep
because you
things
can't be a
going.
golden or diamond member, we just want you to be a member.
Sure, absolutely.
In any way you can, if you can. And if not, collect coins and do whatever.
And I also want to remind folks that that the Historical Society is at your disposal. If you're wanting to we do private tours and things now. That's been kind of a thing we're really have found a lot of success with, or people love.
We have.
Just give us a call, or even just come by and visit during the day if somebody's there, and we can do a private tour for you.
Yes.
We prefer you give us a call ahead. That way we can line up doses.
We really ask that you give an advance notice, because we had an example. I was working upstairs in the archives facility and missed somebody.
But people do pop by.
Yeah, they do pop by. Pop by. If you see vehicles, ring the doorbell or call 622-8333, and we'll be happy to make those arrangements. And if we're around, 100%, we'll help in any way possible. Pop in to get a book or anything.
And in another way, we also, even if you're kind of like, okay, I'm not here to research per se or see the house, but maybe you want to decorate your office or your home with local photos and things. Our archives facility, people make donations all the time for some of our old photos and things, for a copy of them, obviously, that they can use to make as part of their decor of their homes or their offices or their business or whatever.
We're really getting excited for that 100th anniversary for the Eastern New Mexico State Fair, and every time I see them, I get excited. We're looking at pictures and doing fun things. So that's one, or just taking a trip down memory lane. I think that's one thing we're going to do with our drive-through. And Rick Kraft is a perfect example. When you go to his office, you absolutely take a trip down memory lane, which I think is amazing.
Sure.
And I think other offices could take a trip down memory lane and celebrate.
Yeah, and we can help do all that too.
But we sure can.
And then, of course, we're talking when there's more to come on this, but look for more about fourth grade tours here and things. We got some updates on that. We'll be sharing here in the future.
Working with the school district to get those things figured out.
But even if your child didn't get a chance to participate in fourth grade tours, or they're not young yet, don't mean you can't do it on your own with your families. Just like I said, call us. We'd love to have you come by for a visit. Come see the home. Come bring your family out and get involved.
I have a sweet homeschool family that showed up, wanted a tour, and they're homeschooled. And I gave them some challenges. I said, here's the challenges. And so Dad just called me and said, okay, we've completed our challenge. What's the next step? So they're coming back. They're going to get a tour, and we're going to give them other challenges.
Cool.
I'm all in on that. So let's say you have a child that missed the fourth grade school tour. Doesn't mean if you don't give us a call. Let's say last year he missed fourth grade school tour and they said, oh, my son didn't get to. Doesn't mean you couldn't call, make an appointment. Does not mean your fourth grader that's not a fifth grader would not get a backpack, because I'm willing to back that up. We have backpacks, and we would be happy to do some challenges.
We have some people that donated some great stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm all in for the challenges. And yes, if you back it up, I'm going to back up on my end.
Gotcha.
And as you've said it on the radio many times, I'm all about blessings.
Yeah.
So if any family, child, or whatever want to have some fun over spring break and do some challenges, and at the end of the day, the kids will get blessings, I'm all in.
Absolutely.
Call 622-8333 and say, what does the challenge mean? Well, you can do one sitting at home right now.
Sure.
By watching our video. If you call me, I'll give you a challenge. You can do it, and you wouldn't even have to leave your house.
Sure. Yeah, you can do it in your underwear.
That's right.
I mean, it's up to you.
Thomas, that is up to, what happens in your house stays at your house, but you could literally celebrate history from your couch. Call me and I'll let you know about more, and you can get a blessing from doing it.
Absolutely. So the website you want to check out, roswellnmhistory.org. If you're interested in the scholarships we were talking about here, you'll find the applications there. You'll find all the information on which ones to apply for, what the requirements are, et cetera. Of course, the deadlines, which April 1 is the drop dead deadline. And I'm going to tell you right now, put some heart into your discussions, in your essays and things. I know I'm going to tick off a couple people, but I want you to make it very hard for the selection committee to get
that's so cruel. It's already hard.
It's very hard.
And now he's challenging to make it worse. Thanks, Mike. You're going to scare off some of our committee.
Here's what happens is they want to get it to everybody because they get such great stories. They get great. We got some fine, and they all deserve it. They all do deserve it, and you want it. And that's why we try to raise as much money so we can make it easier for them. They're like, well, just give money because we got it. They deserve it. So if you want to make it hard, give them really good essays. If you want to make it easier, contribute to the pot so they can give out more scholarships.
Oh, for sure. While I'm thinking about it too, Mike, that fun Art NM event that's going to happen at the RMAC coming up on April the 9th.
Yes.
I'm really excited about that.
We're going to be involved a little bit.
Because the Historical Society booth is all about bow tie art.
Oh, nice.
Celebrating Judge Alvin Jones. That the April month will be our Character Counts Week.
Okay.
So if you come visit the Historical Society with partnership with CAP's booth, we're going to be celebrating history, character, all through bow tie art. We're going to have a lot of fun. Wear your bow tie to that event. Sure. Celebrate Judge Jones. Celebrate character. Celebrate history. Be part of the CAPS program, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So put your bow tie on. Hey, if you're going to that event, throw a bow tie on.
Yeah.
And be creative and bring some bow tie art to that booth. We're going to have fun with that.
Real quick, changing gears, just we're about to go. Character counts is right now the middle of the Teachers of Character nominations and all that. That's going on right now.
Thank you for asking. If you say, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Those Teacher of Character nominations have gone out.
Yes.
I know Tim Fuller's busy over spring break. I'm sure he's doing something somewhere because he's always doing it, as we all are. But if you want to call the museum at 622-8333, and thank you for high five, Mike.
Yeah.
If you want to make those nominations during spring break, you can give me a call. I would be happy to email you.
Okay.
Because those nominations are going on right now.
I knew that we're right in the middle of all that.
Teacher of Character Week is the latter part of April, so it's a perfect time to celebrate character in your business, in your home. Do the Teacher of Character, honoring the badge, all that's in. Mark your calendars also, because there will be cleaning up of the areas too. Our cleanup out on the highway also.
Our teachers have done so much over the last couple of years to bust their tails to provide the best for your kids and our kids. This is a way to give back to them a little bit. Mm-hmm. All those teachers that have went above and beyond for you and your family over this time, this is your chance to nominate them and give them a little bit of credit.
Give them some sunshine.
I'm telling you, it does make a difference. It
really
does.
We're doing the character counts, and yes, we are switching gears because I'm the president of Character Counts. Shout out to Tim Fuller, that's executive director. This is the time to give sunshine to these people that really need it.
Absolutely.
So get involved. You're welcome to call 622-8333 for more information.
Yeah.
I'll forward the information on to you.
What's the drop dead deadline that they have to get those into you guys by?
That's a good question. I believe, don't hold me to it, but I believe it's April 1 too, because I was laughing. I think I'm involved with 3 different organizations that all have an April 1 deadline. I think that means I'm going to be doing a lot of work after that.
Yeah, so if you see Amy around the April 1, run around like a crazy person.
Please
that's why.
don't ask for favors around that time. I'm going to have a big plate, and I don't know if I'll be going home those nights or whatever.
But she'll be fulfilled because there's going to be a lot of good stuff happening
for
around
sure.
that
It's
time.
what it's all about.
She'll be spent but fulfilled. So.
I'll be happy. That's right.
Again, RoswellNMHistory.org. Anything. Of course, if you're interested in buying books or Peter Herd prints, you'll find all of that there,
give us a call. Got somebody picking up a book. Call 622-8333. You're welcome to stop by and pick up a book.
All right.
Herd prints, all those fun things.
Absolutely. And thank you for everyone that supports the Historical Society.
100%. Thank you.
Especially those ones out there that have really stepped up over the years and continue to do so.
Thank you doesn't seem like enough, but you're impacting history, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. We can't keep doing dumb things here without your support and effort. So we thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
All right, 8:55. Let's get you up to Wall Street Business Update. Quick break before news. Don't go away.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. In escalating the U.S. drive to squeeze Russia's economy, President Joe Biden moved Friday with European and other key allies to revoke Moscow's most favored nation trade status. His administration also banned imports of Russian seafood, alcohol, and diamonds. And the United States is cutting the flow the other way. It's barring the export of expensive watches, cars, clothing, and other luxury American products to Russia. European Union leaders on Friday agreed to phase out dependency on Russian gas, oil, and coal imports as soon as possible, and decided to draw up a plan to support economies as they face skyrocketing energy prices amid a crisis aggravated by the war in Ukraine. Heads of state and government who gathered west of Paris said in a statement that the strategy will involve accelerating the reduction of an overall reliance on fossil fuel, diversifying supplies and routes for gas and oil, and speeding up the development of renewable energy. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Get smoking hot deals during the sizzling savings event at Roswell Nissan. Like a 2015 Ford F-150 for just $307 a month, or a 2010 Honda Odyssey for just $149 a month. And join Roswell Nissan March 26th from 10 to 1 for free food, stuff for the kiddos, and your chance to win a Masterbuilt 30-inch electric smoker. 1 entry for stopping by, 3 entries with a test drive or service, and 5 entries with a purchase. Drawing March 26th at 1, must be present to win. Get a Home Depot gift card with a test drive and a portable grill and a chance at the cash grab just for stopping by. On now at Roswell Nissan. 2111 West 2nd. There's a whole universe out there. Come explore at the International UFO Museum and Research Center, featuring engaging exhibits and in-depth first-hand accounts of the incident that put Roswell on the map. The research library features the most comprehensive collection of UFO research materials in the world, and you can get exclusive one-of-a-kind gifts and merch from the gift shop or online at RoswellUFOmuseum.com. Don't forget about the UFO Festival, July 1st through 3rd, celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Roswell incident. The International UFO Museum and Research Center. It's otherworldly.
Members of Central Valley Electric Cooperative are invited to attend the 2022 annual meeting to be held Saturday, March 19th at the Estelle Yates High School Auditorium in Artesia, New Mexico. Come meet your fellow co-op members, hear about the status of your electric co-op and what is planned for the future. There will be door prizes and a nice gift. Plus, the first 200 members to register will each receive a $50 gift card. Limit one card per membership. Registration begins at 9 a.m. The annual meeting begins at 10 a.m. Mark your calendar and please attend the Central Valley Electric Co-op annual meeting March 19th in Artesia, New Mexico. We look forward to seeing you there.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin & Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin & Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin & Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. You cannot snore and dream at the same time, unless you're dreaming about snoring. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is closing in on 9 o'clock. We got a few minutes here, or a few seconds here before we get you into the top of the hour. Stay tuned next hour, about 9:15 or so. We're going to have gubernatorial candidate Greg Zanetti join us. He's going to be in studio. We'll talk with him, talk a little bit about Russia and what's going on there. And for folks that aren't familiar, prior, Greg Zanetti was military. He was actually ran Guantanamo Bay for a portion of time there, and I think he was there when they closed down and everything too. So he's a general. He knows a little bit about military stuff. So he's going to kind of give us a little bit of insight on that, and obviously talk to you about why you should vote for him for governor. So that's coming up next hour. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, or Roswell, New Mexico. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go away.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A mother and her newborn and a U.S. journalist among the latest victims of Putin's war in Ukraine. Amid the ongoing fighting with Russian forces battling their way toward Kiev, another round of peace talks underway.
After an airstrike on a military base near the Polish border brought the war dangerously close to NATO's doorsteps, the talks raise hopes for progress in evacuating civilians from besieged Ukrainian cities and getting emergency supplies to areas without enough food, water and medicine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said in a new video address, "Everyone is waiting for news. We will definitely report in the evening." The negotiations taking place by video conference are the fourth round involving high-level officials from the two countries and the first to be held in a week. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Gas prices, they were a lot lower when Joe Biden first arrived at the White House.
Gasoline is now $1.54 above its year-ago point, and diesel is $2.11 higher than it was 1 year ago.
Fuel price analyst Trilby Lundberg says a gallon of regular now averages a record $4.43, and it's up 79 cents in the past 2 weeks alone. Federal mask mandate on public transportation extended for another month.
The requirement to wear masks on planes, buses, and trains was to expire later this week, but the Transportation Security Administration announced that the mask mandate will continue through mid-April. Federal officials say this will allow the CDC to develop new, more targeted COVID-19 policies.
That's White House correspondent Greg Clugston. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 416 points, the Nasdaq 48 points higher, and the S&P 500 index up 39 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What if I told you your home movies are already past their prime? It's true. The magnetic tape used in VHS and camcorder tapes only lasts between 10 to 20 years, which means your baby's first steps, weddings, and family vacations are fading away as we speak. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box stops this fading process in its tracks. And by preserving your recordings, they're safe forever. Legacy Box is simply the best way to preserve your past, which is why they've been trusted by over 1 million families. Your memories are meant to be shared, not chewed up by the VCR or worn away with time. For a limited time, you can convert your tapes to digital for just $9 a tape. There's never been a better time to convert your entire collection. That includes film reels and photos too. Visit legacybox.com/lbox to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/lbox to unlock our $9 offer. legacybox.com/lbox.
Citing record high gas prices, Uber charging customers a new fuel fee to help offset costs for ride hail and delivery drivers.
The temporary surcharge will be either 45 cents or 55 cents for each Uber trip, and either 35 cents or 45 cents for each Uber Eats order, depending on location. It will take effect on Wednesday. San Francisco-based Uber says all the money will go directly to drivers. The surcharge will be in effect for at least 60 days, after which Uber said it will assess the situation. Uber says the surcharges are based on the average trip distance and the increase in gas prices in each state. Uber rival Lyft did not immediately say whether it will consider a similar move. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Chinese authorities report 1,337 locally transmitted cases of COVID-19 across dozens of mainland cities. Fast-spreading variant, commonly known as stealth Omicron, fueling China's biggest outbreak in 2 years. News and analysis at townhall.com. German authorities say 4 people have fallen to their deaths while hiking in the Bavarian mountains.
State police say 3 people died Saturday southeast of Munich near the border with Austria. They say the victims were all in their 30s and 40s and were all from Bavaria. A woman witnessed their fall and was able to call emergency services quickly. And a 28-year-old American man has been found dead in a separate incident not too far from where the first victims fell. Police are investigating each incident. Jason Walker reporting.
1 gunman being sought in deadly attacks on homeless men who were sleeping on the streets of New York City and Washington, D.C. Officials in both cities say that they're urging the homeless to get off the streets. So far, 2 people have died and several others have been injured. Once again on Wall Street this hour, the Dow up 410 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres inviernos.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It's Spring Break Monday.
It is a Spring Break Monday. It's blowy and blustery out there, though. Look at it.
Yeah, it is.
Whipping the trees round.
It's going to be a weird week of weather.
Yeah.
Like, it's warm for the most part, but there's going to be a lot of wind.
Mm-hmm.
There's even like a rain chance by like Thursday.
Right. First day of spring, I think, is Friday.
Yeah, like one day it's going to be 60, then one day it'll be 70-something, then it'll be 80-something, then it'll be 60-something again.
Right.
and then it'll rain.
Right.
Or not rain.
It's what's the reference that Robin Williams makes? It's weather by Sybil.
And then they use a term like mostly sunny, but I look out the window right now. That kind of looks like rain clouds down there, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, on this side, it's real. Got the real dark
it looks
grays
ominous
over here.
there.
Yeah,
a little ominous.
It is. Tis a bit thick.
But you look out your window, it's like sunny blue, right?
I know. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's an optimism pessimism thing.
Yeah, glass half full, half empty situation going on there. But so there's your glass half full. Spring break week, kids are off. Some are enjoying the day.
Yes.
Glass half empty. You're sitting here working right now.
Yeah, I tried to cram as much fun as we could into their weekend because I know.
Did you do anything exciting with the children?
Well, I do need to give a shout out to the South Main McDonald's. The Play Place was in fact open.
So you got to partake?
I did. I went on Facebook and asked, just around because
that was for Sean, not the kids, by the way.
Yeah,
he was the one who was going to play in the balls and all the ball pit.
Well, I want to do all what's clean, But
he wanted to soil it himself.
Yeah, that's right. Did you see Brooks was here? I did it right over the top. Brooks was here. Anyways, but no, it was awesome facility, super clean, and actually, what was really cool is they had an attendant like standing by inside of the place room
to keep everything
as
kosher.
As a customer would get up and leave, she would run over and clean the table, bus everything, and
I like that.
Yeah, it was nice.
That makes me happy.
The kids enjoyed it. Service was fantastic. I don't know if apparently there's a new machine that makes all their drinks. So when I
drink machine.
That's right. When I came in, it was there was a group of gentlemen there, like 5 or 6 people, and so it was kind of like a weird rush situation. And she basically said, "All I have right now are high C, teas, and things like that because they have no carbonation right now."
And you were like, "You had me at high C."
I did. That's exactly what I said. I'm like, "That's all my kids want." My daughter drinks water with extra ice. She likes to eat the ice, and my son drinks high C, so we're good.
Good to go.
We're set.
Good.
So but South Main location, awesome. Definitely,
good deal.
Should definitely stop by and check it out. It's real. It's very spacious inside. Like the seating is kind of spaced oddly.
Well, it was a tiny McDonald's.
It was
the South Main one, as far as dining area and all that. Yeah.
There's still plenty of seating, but it's spaced out enough to where there's it's a very roomy area.
Okay.
So I recommend it.
And if you're like my wife, you're going to want to know this piece of information. Bahama Bucks opens tomorrow.
Tomorrow, is it? Okay.
Yes, 15th. It's
So,
their day of opening.
Good luck to anyone who can get in there.
Yeah.
And if you can, let me know how it is.
I think my wife, being off work for spring break this week, said one of her goals for the week is to have a Bahama Bucks beverage in her belly before this week is out.
All right. That sounds like challenge accepted. I feel like there's going to be a lot of wait time there.
Yeah. Well, I was asking her because they do breakfast and all that because I didn't.
What? Really?
Well, they have smoothies and stuff.
Okay,
That's why I was thinking, well,
that
maybe
makes
they
sense.
offer a breakfast hours type thing. I don't know what their hours are. I have no idea. But they do offer things that aren't ices too. So just if you go in there for a visit.
That was a weird sound I just made. I will say this: jump on their Facebook page. You're going to see some real cool stuff.
Yeah,
give you an idea. And we're giving them a lot of free advertising. They should, they really should pay for this. But anyway,
thank my wife; she's a big fan.
But I will say this: go on their Facebook page because there's some cool stuff.
Good deal.
Yep.
I'm down. I do love me a good ice. The months are getting warmer here.
Yeah.
It's going to be 80 like Thursday or Wednesday. It'd be a good day for a nice ice cold icy thing. I'm down. So, don't go away. We got a action-packed hour for you.
I'm gonna.
You will eventually here, but we have a gubernatorial candidate, Greg Zanetti, going to join us here, running for the Republican nod for governor here in the primary, which is just around the corner.
It is.
I know now the municipal
we
elections
jumped out of election season. We're like, oh, finally.
Here we go.
Nope. Straight back in.
Hot and heavy, right back into it here. But he's going to join us now. We're going to talk a little bit about Russia and all that. That's something that he talked, said, hey, obviously. For those who don't know, Greg Zanetti was a general. He was like the head, guard dude from New Mexico. But anyway, he was a general during Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo, back when they were closed and all that. So he kind of knows about how military thinks and works and operates, and so he's going to give us some of his expert insight on Russia too. Yep. So we're talking that a little bit. So that'll be fun. I always talked about, especially generals. They know so much stuff.
Strategery.
Yes. But But Greg will join us here in just a little bit. Later on this hour, we'll get you up to date with the news of the local variety along with your Wall Street business update and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show. Before we do any of that stuff, though, let's go ahead and take a look at that weather. Like I said, it's going to be a little up and down this week with the temps, 60s one day, 70s the next, 80s, and back down to 60s. But here it is. Enjoy.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. The big deal today will be the gusty wind as high as 45 miles per hour. We'll get mostly sunny skies and our afternoon high in the mid-60s. For the overnight hours, down to 30. The wind will be calming down a little bit. Skies will be clear and then not as windy on Tuesday. Sunshine and we're back to the mid-70s. Looks like we'll hit the 80-degree mark with fair weather on Wednesday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. 60 degrees and fair and breezy right now here in Roswell, New Mexico. Humidity is at 14%, so kind of low there. Winds are out of the northwest at 23, gusting to 41 at the moment. For today, mostly sunny, mid-60s. We're about 6 degrees away from our high here, 66 officially. Winds, I wish I had better news, but they're going to get windy today. North winds 15 to 20 this morning. But gusting 25 to 30 with gusts as high as 40 by later today. Clear skies tonight with an overnight low of 30 and northwest winds 10 to 15. They'll drop down 5 to 10 after midnight tonight. Tuesday, we'll be back in the mid-70s tomorrow, sunny and 74. Northwest winds 5 to 10 early, 10 to 15 for the afternoon. Then Wednesday, we're looking at mostly sunny skies, highs in the 80s, 81 on Wednesday. A little breezy, not as breezy as, say, today, but a little breezy. West winds 5 to 10 early, southwest 10 to 15 by Wednesday afternoon. Thursday, they're saying there's a chance, a 20% chance of rain. That's an 80% chance it won't rain, but there's a 20% chance of rain. And looking at sunny otherwise, high of 67. And then for Friday, we're looking at mostly sunny skies, highs in the low 60s, 63. 74 on Saturday and sunny, 81 and sunny on Sunday. All right, we're going to take a 3-minute break. And then on the other side of the break, Greg Zanetti, gubernatorial candidate, will join us. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Nutrien Ag Solutions of Artesia is looking for a general labor yard hand to join their team. Nutrien Ag Solutions is a respected and well-established company who values their employees. To apply, please stop by Nutrien Ag Solutions at 103 East Mill Road in Artesia or apply online at nutrien.com or indeed.com. For more information on this current job opening, please call Nutrien Ag Solutions at 575-748-3510. Nutrien Ag Solutions is an equal opportunity employer.
At LeGrand Funeral Chapel, we believe that every funeral should be a reflection of the life it honors. The joys, the triumphs, the faith, the family, and so much more. For us, no detail is too small, no request too big. This is Rosa Aguilar. When the time comes to choose a funeral home, we hope you'll let us serve your family. At LeGrand Funeral Chapel and Crematory, we make it personal.
Where can you find the best selection of beautiful and unique home decor in the region? Easy, Casa Decor in Ruidoso. For years, people from all over have come to Casa Decor for the best selection of rustic, real wood furniture, beautiful decor from the Southwest and beyond, and quality outdoor furniture and accessories that are built to last a lifetime. At Casa Decor, they have over 10,000 square feet of showroom for everything you need. Casa Decor opens 7 days a week from 9:30 to 5 at 1214 Meacham Drive in Ruidoso or online at casadecorruidoso.com. Proud supporter of local high school sports.
Time to put your money where your mouth is. The March Mania Slam Dunk Savings Event is on at Roswell Honda. Saturday, March 19th from 10 to 1, the hoop will be set up at Roswell Honda. Shoot for up to $1,000 discount. Enjoy free food and drinks, fun for the whole family, and register to win a 54-inch Spalding portable basketball hoop. 1 entry for stopping by, 3 entries with a test driver service, and 5 entries with a purchase. Drawing March 19th at 1, must be present to win. Score big during the Slam Dunk Savings Event at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. The education assistance I received made it possible for me to be the first person in my family to go to school and graduate debt-free. That education helped get me to the first day at my dream job, a job that I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job, plus the other benefits possible from the Army National Guard, helped me become a first-time homeowner. Also, part of my role as a National Guard soldier means I know that I can be one of the first to respond and help my community if disaster ever strikes. I'm extremely proud that I get to serve my community, and that first step I took by joining the Army National Guard has made all the difference in my life. Talk to your local recruiter or visit NationalGuard.com to find out what firsts are available to you in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Army National Guard. Aired by the New Mexico Broadcasters Association and this station.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Ketchup was used as a medicine back in the 1930s. Mike uses ketchup to make friends. He doesn't have a lot of friends. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 17 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, gubernatorial candidate for the Republican Party, representing the Republican Party, Greg Zanetti, back with us. Morning, sir.
Mike, it's great to be back. Thank you for having me, especially with what's going on right now.
Yeah, obviously World War III in a lot of people's minds is starting here. We talk about the war, what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, and a lot of people, justifiably so, should be nervous right now and looking at what's going on here. All putting, it just so happens you're running for governor here and things, but for folks that don't know, your prior experience includes, being a general in the military, the Guard. You were, I might be oversimplifying this, but I always tell people at one point you were like the head dude for Guard of New Mexico, pretty much. Am I close on that? I know there's titles and semantics and all that, but pretty much you ran the show for the Guard for New Mexico. You also were running Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo, and were there when it finally they said we're done with all that, some of that stuff. You were involved with all, so you've got experience in the big picture of the world politics and the world military and all of that stuff. So your insight on what's going on in Russia is probably a little bit more educated than the average person.
Well, I hope so. I'd like to give your listeners a broader context of what's going on here.
Yeah.
And so, Mike, I'm going to take you back 15, 18 years. Vladimir Putin gave a series of speeches across Europe, in particular in Davos, Switzerland.
Okay.
And Mike, it was something like this. Why are we kowtowing to the Americans? Look what we have on the Eurasian continent. We have technological and engineering capabilities second to none in Europe, particularly in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
We have all the resources you could want across Russia and the stands, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, all that. And we have the factory floor to the world in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we should unite. Let's build roads, bridges, pipelines, communication systems, commodities exchanges, stock exchanges, internet, capabilities. We don't have to fight the Americans. We can ignore them. Let's build a giant land power from the Atlantic to the Pacific and to our friends in the Middle East. Join us in this great endeavor.
So being like the saviors of Europe and Asia, basically.
Basically.
Yeah.
And he said, look, Eurasia has always been the center of humanity. It has never been in the Western Hemisphere. This is an anomaly. Let's return it to its rightful place.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. Well, this was the kind of speech that just brought people to their feet. Putin. It was this kind of thing.
Sure. Which, by the way, Hitler was very popular.
Right.
Prior to becoming the Hitler we know and despise.
Right. Right. And so now what's happened over the last 15, 18 years?
Uh-huh.
They've done this. Initially, they called it the New Silk Road. Now it's called the One Belt, One Road Initiative. But they have built roads. They have built bridges and pipelines and alliances.
They've upgraded the infrastructure.
Right. And so I guess the point I want to make this morning is Ukraine is an important piece, but to a much bigger puzzle in this unification of the Eurasian continent to rival, basically the Western Hemisphere and America's dominance.
Sure.
So think what's happened here. Basically, I think we're witnessing the remaking of the world order. So Russia clearly went into Ukraine, not just for the wealth. Yes, he wants all that farmland and the coal and the rare earth elements and all that comes with it. But I think he also wanted to splinter NATO. And Mike, he's kind of done it.
Gotcha.
I mean, Germany's sort of in, but sort of not. France is sort of in, sort of not. And then the other thing he wanted to do was weaken our currency, because he saw what happened in Afghanistan back in August. And when Afghanistan fell in such a horrific and disorganized way, it was game on.
Gotcha.
Because the world saw it and they said, America's weak. And if America's weak, why do we trust their currency? And did you notice when prices really started to go up here? It was about there.
Okay.
Because the world started dumping dollars.
Gotcha.
So every night, our Federal Reserve was mopping up dollars out on the international markets to try to keep some value to it.
Sure.
And I think Putin thought, if we can embarrass them in Ukraine as well, we can smash their currency.
So, I mean, is this something that it's been kind of under Putin's plan for a long time? And then the debacle that happened in Afghanistan was the linchpin that said, now's the timing to unleash what I want to do. Is that, in essence, what kind of went down, you think?
I think so.
Okay.
And so let's again put context to this. Let's go back to the fall of the Soviet Union and what happened and why he's thinking the way he's thinking. All right. You remember the last years of Jimmy Carter? It looked kind of like now, rising gas prices, rising oil prices. Well, back then, Mike, the Soviets couldn't even make a toaster that the world wanted.
Yeah.
But they had oil. And as prices hit for the day, it was a big number, $38, $39, $40 a barrel. Money was pouring into the Kremlin. Well, then Reagan got elected, and Thatcher had already been elected in England.
Okay.
And so they got together and said, if we can drive the price of oil down, we can smash the ruble. If we smash the ruble, we can knock out the Soviet Empire. Well, they were fortunate. North Sea oil was coming online for the Brits. Prudhoe Bay was coming online for the Americans.
Gotcha.
And then the key was to get the Saudis to open the spigots. And they did. And all of eastern New Mexico and West Texas will remember this. From like 1981 to 85, 86, 87, we saw the price of oil go from almost 40 down to single digits.
Wow.
Well, the Soviets couldn't even pump it at 10. And when the money dried up, there was no money to repair the tanks. The submarines rusted and the planes didn't fly. And by the late 80s, it was over.
By the time we're in there looking to see all their glasnost and all that, it wasn't all like their military was not maintained, the tires, everything was sad. Yeah.
Right. Well, there was a young KGB officer by the name of Vladimir Putin who witnessed this whole thing. And he said, they took down my currency. And when they took down the currency, they took down my nation. And now what's happening? You're seeing the same thing playing out now as he's going after the dollar because he saw what happened in Afghanistan.
So is the solution the same? We just, I know this is we as Americans, obviously our president shut down the Keystone Pipeline, right before all this stuff went down. So is the answer really drill, baby, drill? Is that fire it all back up and get back and put America off of relying on foreign oil and things like that again? Or is it bigger than that?
It's bigger than that because we also have to bring manufacturing back.
Gotcha.
Because back in the late 70s, early 80s, we were still a manufacturing nation. We hadn't shipped it all off to China. This is what President Trump was trying to do. He saw the playing field pretty clearly, and he said, all right, we need to renegotiate our trade pacts. And he did. He renegotiated NAFTA and the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Good on him. And then he was trying to bring manufacturing home. And then, of course, then he got taken out in the last election, and Biden just reversed all of it. Well, he weakened us almost immediately. And so the world's different than from back then.
Sure.
But think of what's playing out now. China has clearly sided with the Russians.
Gotcha.
I mean, and again, think of this big picture, the Eurasian superpower.
They're looking, because if correct me if I'm wrong, they're kind of waiting on the sidelines to see how this plays out to see what they're going to do with Taiwan.
Oh, smart guy.
Yeah.
Right. Think of what they're doing. First, they've teamed up with the Russians, but they also saw this financial and economic nuclear bomb that we dropped on the Russians. I mean, the sanctions we imposed, this was something else.
Yeah.
I mean, we attacked their central bank. We have seized assets. We have shut them off from the banking systems. We took down their stock exchange. We're taking down their currency. The world has never seen, I called it World War E, economic, electronic warfare like this. Well, if you're China, you're making notes. All right, wait a minute. If they just did this to Russia, how do we prevent ourselves from being hurt like this before we go to Taiwan?
Sure.
So what are they doing? The Chinese are de-dollarizing. We've got to get out of the U.S. systems. We have to separate from these banking systems.
Sure.
Otherwise, we could be a victim.
Gotcha. So they're cutting those ties to keep us from really getting into their stuff.
Right.
When they try to pull the same shenanigans down the road here.
Exactly. Well,
Gotcha.
okay, you don't have to be, a big economist to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
If your dollar, your currency is being dumped, if there's less demand for your currency, while we are increasing the supply by trillions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you saw just last week, we signed a $1.5 trillion spending bill. Or if supply of dollars is soaring while demand is dropping, what happens to the value of your currency?
Gotcha.
Down she goes.
Yeah.
And what's happening to prices?
Up they go.
Right. So in some ways, Biden, I think, what are you thinking here? I mean, what have you done long term to hurt our currency? And now look what else China's doing. I think I could make a strong case that China's been pivoting toward a wartime economy for well over a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we started seeing, gaps on the shelves last year, even the year before.
Sure.
Because they were moving to a wartime economy, making fewer consumer goods. Meanwhile, they're stockpiling hard metals like copper and aluminum and lead, the rare earth elements. And they're also stockpiling soft commodities. Think food. You may not know this, but 60% of all the world's stored food is now in China.
Wow.
Mike, why would you do that? Unless you were trying to insulate yourself from an embargo as you attack Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the second piece of this puzzle. You've got Ukraine going on, Putin trying to splinter NATO, take the wealth, and hurt the dollar. China preparing to take Taiwan and establish themselves as the regional power, absent America. All right, America, you're gone. Now add another piece, Iran. What's Iran done over the weekend? They fired a missile at the U.S. consulate in Iraq. But you think that was just a coincidence?
Yeah, no, this is all,
Right. Right. Now, whether it was planned or whether that was just opportunistic, but they have also shown that they can fire missiles from Iran into Israel and to hit our troops on the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, got it. And now you've got India. This was the one that just kind of blew me away. India under Trump was our buddy. We got along really well. When Biden came in, it all changed.
Did it?
So in December, just 3 months ago, India signed an arms and trade deal with the Russians. And then last week, in the middle of the sanctions, they said, look, we don't want to participate in these sanctions at all. We'll do trade with you, Russia, and we'll do it with the ruble and the rupee and not the dollar. Again, another attack on the currency.
They're lining up their partners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you start putting this puzzle together, going back to Putin's big speech back 20 years ago, let's unite, you're starting to see it come together.
Gotcha.
This is the bigger picture that, anyway, you and I here in Roswell can't control right now.
Sure.
But what should New Mexico do about it?
Sure, we've got to prepare our end game for whatever's going to happen globally here. Yeah.
Right. And think how New Mexico could help the nation. What do we have here in this state, Mike? Not only do we have oil and gas, we have potash for fertilizer. And you've seen Russia and the fertilizer thing. We know what's going on there, cutting the exports. We have lithium. We have 4 of the 17 rare earth elements.
Which is all lithium, by the way. Everyone on their electric cars and electric, that's going to be the commodity everyone wants. It's the lithium.
Right. Yeah. And then we have the rare earth elements here for the 17. We have copper. We have uranium. And we talked about small modular nuclear reactors last time I was on and said,
which
hey,
would fix a lot of energy problems.
It does. And it's not competing against oil and gas. In fact, it opposite.
Works in concert.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we have this wealth from the earth, the stuff that Putin, cherishes over in Ukraine. We've got it here in New Mexico. We could help America. Plus, we have these brilliant minds in this state. The new technologies, the quantum computing, the artificial intelligence, nanotech, micromachinery.
All that stuff going on in Los Alamos there.
Los Alamos,
those big
Sandia
heads in their
Labs,
brain. Yeah.
New Mexico Tech. We have, in New Mexico State, we have these brilliant minds here.
Sure.
And if you combine, this wealth from the human mind with the natural resources, watch what happens to your society.
Sure.
So could New Mexico go from worst to first? And could we be contributing back to the United States at a time when the U.S. really needs us?
Sure.
The answer would be yes. So this is why I'm running for governor. And I didn't expect it was going to play out like this. But, Mike, I can just see us blossoming and helping.
Sure.
Anyway.
If you've got leadership that sees the writing on the wall and are willing to, instead of react to what's going on, be 3 steps ahead of it and prepare for, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I feel like we've been, especially in the world of COVID, we've been living in a reactionary world where we're just responding to what's going on here instead of anticipating and mitigating and coming up with ways. And I think, like you're saying here is, if we plan a little and see the writing on the wall here, we can line up our industries, we can line up our resources, and we can not only be a servant for good for this country, but at the same time turn New Mexico into a very financial and
prosperous,
educational, and not just more money, but those things we're all 50th in, like education and crime and all that stuff. That those numbers start to go up because now there's there's entities investing money, time, and their resources into the state, which in essence turns into a lot of money and a lot of good growth for our community.
Right, and all with a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And you mentioned thinking 3 steps ahead. Well, Mike, why aren't we making the speech that Putin made?
Yeah.
Except instead of looking east-west, looking north-south. All right, Canada and the United States and Mexico and Argentina have natural resources, unbelievable what we have in this Western Hemisphere. Do we have the finest technological and engineering minds in the world in this hemisphere? Yes. Do we have all kinds of food, not just across the Great Plains in the U.S., but down in South America? Why don't we unite north-south? And in that situation, think what that does to New Mexico. In east-west trade, New Mexico's kind of landlocked. You got big old California, to our west.
Not a lot of ports in New Mexico.
No. And then Arizona is kind of a buffer. And then looking to the east, you got, gigantic Texas.
Sure.
And we're kind of squished. But in north-south trade, think how we're positioned.
Yeah.
I-25 ought to be the Autobahn.
Yeah.
Running up
Sending
and down.
stuff down to Mexico and Central America.
Sure,
and
of course.
Farther south and vice versa up north to Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
And I-40 should be the same, and I-10 should be the same. As it comes up, then it sprays out across the country. And so if you start viewing New Mexico in that light, could the governor of New Mexico start looking for trade deals in this hemisphere?
And then
yes.
The other argument I would say there, yes, talking about our resources and things like that, we can also do that and not destroy the earth. That's the other thing I want to, because I know people saying, oh, yeah, we got the lithium. Yeah, but now that's going to be mining, drilling, all the things that we don't, that they're saying we need less of in New Mexico. And I'm like, no, we can do both.
Yes, we can.
We've got plenty of stuff. I'm telling you right now, the restrictions they put on oil and gas, I'm telling you, the oil and gas are better stewards of that property than sometimes the government is, because they live in those same areas instead of someone that's 1,000 miles away telling them how to work this stuff. And that's a difference. And they don't want to tell you that. They want to tell you that these companies are evil and just want your money. And granted, they ain't in the business to lose money. They're going to make money, and they're going to do things to make money. But at the same time, they're not going to destroy the earth.
Correct.
They're going to work hand in hand with government. And generally speaking, most oil companies go above and beyond whatever government regulations are required for them. A lot of times you look at their things, and they're doing more than what the government's requiring them to do to maintain safety and security on some of this stuff. So, yes, we got these new opportunities. We can get it and mine it and drill it or get access to it without destroying our and still staying with it, keeping New Mexico the beautiful place that we love it. We can do both. We can do that.
Absolutely, because the technology is so improved.
Yes.
I mean, this is like, the 1920s when nobody really knew how to do this stuff, so you just got it in the most, blunt way you could.
Yeah.
But no, you look at the oil and gas industry and how they've combined high tech and low tech to help the nation. I mean, what's more low tech than oil?
Yeah.
Not much.
But how much high tech comes out of that?
Right. Think what these guys are doing. They're drilling down, 2 miles?
Yeah.
And then going horizontally another mile.
And
it's amazing technology.
And the thing that gets me is any renewable based energy solution we have right now. And I'm not saying in the future they won't be more efficient. They will be. They'll be better and they'll be more efficient. But right now, you can't have wind or solar or any of those without petroleum-based products doing the heavy lifting. So so you can't bite the hand that's feeding you right now, and that's what New Mexico's really been doing they're biting the hand that feeds them. We need to figure that out, and obviously you get those.
Right, and you and I talked last time about how New Mexico could not only be the energy state. Let's embrace all of it, but we could also become the water state. And so, for the listeners who didn't hear this last time, New Mexico is the Saudi Arabia of brackish water. We have billions of acre feet of salty water.
Which is very functional for a lot of different uses.
It is. Plus, the technology to desalinate has just soared. And as the technology got better, the prices come down.
Gotcha.
And so here's what we would do. We would get the desal plants, pair them up with these small modular nuclear reactors. And by the way, this water's all over the state. The Tularosa Basin, it's in eastern New Mexico. It's up in Farmington. It's down in Las Cruces.
So it's plentiful
everywhere.
Statewide.
Deming has got a ton of it. Anyway, so if you desal 40, 50 million gallons of water at night, the energy you would use would be from this small modular nuclear reactor about the size of a McDonald's that will power 60,000 homes, that will not, it won't melt down.
Basically, Roswell could do with one and be good to
easily.
Go. Yeah.
All right. So then during the day, the reactor runs your city. At night, it's the power to clean your water for the next day. And you take the excess electricity and you sell it to California at a profit.
Wow.
Can you see it?
That's like ultimate reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly. And now what happens? It's this brackish water isn't owed to Texas. It's not covered under the compacts.
Sure.
Now you don't have the city competing against the rural areas for the water, for the freshwater use, because you don't use desal water, out in the fields.
Right.
And you become more independent, not just in energy, but in water, which we all desperately need. And watch what happens to this state.
Sure.
Anyway.
You always hear the joke in this part of the state that whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. That's the joke you hear because of water rights. This kind of deals with some of that stuff. I do want to ask a question real quick, back to the Russia stuff.
Sure.
I'm kind of curious, what do you think's going to happen? Because at some point, I believe Ukraine's going to fall.
Me too.
They're not going to be able to sustain it. How long it's going to take, whether it's a month or 2 months or a week or whatever it is, that's debatable. But at some point, Ukraine's going to fall to Russia.
Right.
What do you think happens next after that? I mean, militarily, is Russia done at that point? Do you think they're going to move on to a NATO country, or are they going to go after Belarus or someplace that's still not NATO but part of the old Soviet Republic? What do you think where do you think Putin's going to go next after Ukraine falls?
I think he'll consolidate. That's what you would do initially. You'd regroup. You would, repair your vehicles, and you'd go after the Baltic states.
Gotcha.
That would be next. And he sees that we have weak and confused leadership.
Yes.
And that's our issue.
I feel like that's the big thing, is because the timing with I think, say what you want about Trump. Love him, hate him, despise him, think he's an idiot, or think he's the best thing since sliced bread, whatever you think. I think the fact that he's not there is the reason why this, you know what I mean?
Right.
I think, like you said, the Afghanistan situation kind of was the icing on the cake that just confirmed what he probably thought all along. And since that happened, he said, "Oh, that confirms. I know exactly what's going on. Now's the time to make our play. America's weak, and we can take advantage of that." And that's and I think if Donald Trump, love him, hate him, or whatever, was our president today, I don't think we were talking about a war in Ukraine right now. I don't think Putin would have tried to make that play right now. That's my opinion.
No, I agree totally. And he didn't. Remember, they've been talking about this plan going back 15, 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they weren't quite prepared to do it, but saw this is our chance.
Sure.
And actually, they're probably right.
Yeah.
And so, again, you're seeing the remaking of the world order right before your eyes.
Sure.
Even if this war ended today, energy flows, food flows, currency systems, banking systems are all going to be irrevocably changed.
Yeah.
And you are seeing the uniting of, believe it or not, India, China, Iran, and Russia. And if they can just tip Germany, and Germany, of course, is so dependent on Russian energy right now, if they can get Germany to look east instead of looking west, the rest of Europe will go with it, and that dream will be fulfilled. That's why Putin can't back down. This idea that suddenly he's going to get overthrown and the people are going to rise up. Man, they don't understand Russian history.
Sure.
That's not how it goes over there.
But I'm just curious. So if say America started firing up the plants and the things today, I know it doesn't happen overnight. If to fire it up today, it would still be months before we start seeing the impact from that. But really, is that the best solution that America can do right now to combat whatever Putin's plan to execute and what's going on behind that? Would that create? And I'm not even sure that fixes it. That just slows it down and makes it a lot harder for him to do what he's got to do.
It does.
Yeah.
If we became more independent across the board, and we totally have the capabilities to do this, then we have actually some big advantages in this hemisphere that they don't have. I mean, it all sounds great to unite the Eurasian continent, but think how many different religions you've got that have not gotten along very well over thousands of years. There are a lot of hatreds that are so built in. There are some problems here.
Sure.
Plus, you have so many different cultures, and trying to make this mesh is going to be very, very difficult.
Sure.
Meanwhile, here in the Americas, basically we share a God. And, it's pretty much whether you're Protestant or Catholic or Christian, and we share, I don't know, heritage, custom. I mean, it's much easier for us to unite over here than they can.
Sure. Well, and in theory, our country is created as a melting pot. That's been the crux of this country from the beginning. Bring us your tired. Bring us your weary.
Right.
These are, people came to this country to avoid oppression of some kind, whether it's religious or sexual or color based or whatever it is. They avoided some kind of persecution to, historically, and so we may not all agree. On this country, but guess what? There's no other country on the planet better equipped to deal with cultural bias and differences than this one, I believe, because I
totally agree.
We're built to be that way. That's how that's why people come in from foreign lands and bring their culture and bring their food and bring their beliefs with them, and they can be here, and we all, sure, we may not agree, but we can, and I think that's and so I always tell people, like, you see your Black Lives Matter, you see these things going on, and you say, I was like, try that move in Kyiv right now.
Oh, no.
Or any other Europe, you know what I'm saying? And you're going to find out that you got it pretty good over here after all said and done. And that's what, it's like, we got problems, but you know what? We're the beacon of example here. And
I agree.
And we need, and that's what makes this country great. And that's why, what we do in the world is impacted so much the way it is because of that stuff. And so, I really want to get that message home that we, it's not so bad here. We got it all right. You got to, because if you sit there and complain about your piddlings here, things like what's going on over there is going to finally impact your world much greater right here if you're not prepared for it. So that's just my thoughts.
No, I totally agree. And you could bring all those thoughts right back to New Mexico.
Yeah.
We've always gotten along really well here.
You know, yeah. I mean, we don't agree on everything, obviously, but yeah, we kind of, we make things happen, and we do. Despite the cards dealt, we're going to figure out a way to come and navigate through it. So, of course, if folks have been listening, they're like, man, this Craig Zanetti guy knows what he's talking about. Maybe I want to learn more about him.
This is nice of you. You don't have to do this.
I would love to, give out for people that can, if they want to research more, get involved in your campaign. Obviously, I know this is a busy. I imagine with primaries months away now. Instead of, it seemed like it was. Like June seemed like it was forever.
It's coming up fast.
And now you're like, wait a minute, it's like March, April's right around the corner.
Voting starts in May.
Yeah, early voting will be gearing up here pretty quick. Now's the time to start paying attention to this stuff and really and looking at the Republican side. You've got candidates that are really giving you some different angles and different opinions on things here. So please reach out and research what you got to say.
Yeah, it's Zanetti, Z as in zebra, ANETTI for governor.com. And what you'll learn about me, I'm from here. I went to Valley High School in Albuquerque. Then I went to West Point. And then I had the military career, but I've also managed lots of money for really wealthy people.
Sure.
And so
you've got the military and the finance background.
And it all goes together.
And you're talking, exactly. That's the point I'm making there. It's all goes hand in hand on some of this stuff.
Right. And so if you see both sides, if you see the economic war that's playing out, the financial war, and of course, the kinetic war on the ground right now, you start thinking, okay, I can't control this. Mike, you can't control it.
Yeah.
But we can pivot in New Mexico with the right leadership to benefit from it, not just here in New Mexico, but to help the country.
Sure.
That's the opportunity that's before us right now.
I think also a lot of people, not people that have been, some people that pay attention and read, they didn't, but I think a lot of Americans honestly thought we'd never see a World War II type scenario again. Like you think technology or the science or we've evolved, whatever your logic or reasoning was. And I think what we're seeing right now in the world is like, oh, you think you're never going to see that again? Just wait. It's a month away. You know what I mean? It's a couple moves away every time from doing what we're seeing right now in this world.
If I were Israel, I'd have my head on a swivel right now based on what's going on. And then with the other thing, we've got to be careful of the hawkish, let's go get them, the Russians have hypersonic missiles.
Mm-hmm.
These, maybe we have them, but we haven't demonstrated them yet. These are missiles that actually go into space, which gives them limitless range. Once you're in orbit, you can go anywhere. They come back through the atmosphere at 15 times the speed of sound.
Wow.
I can't tell you how fast that is.
That's very.
And here's the key part. They're guidable. Ballistic missiles go up and down like a softball. So you at least have a shot to intercept it. With a hypersonic, you won't know if it's going to hit Memphis or Detroit until 3 seconds out.
Oh, wow.
Right. This is what people don't get. And prior to this invasion, Putin brought some of his submarines up to hover depth, and he launched them. And he basically was saying, look, I'm going to be in this place this time. Watch this. We're not fooling around. He did the same thing with mobile land-based launchers. He gave the coordinates to us, and he said, watch this. And he fired his hypersonics in test mode, basically saying, leave us alone. We're not messing around. We don't want to do this.
Gotcha.
And so, again, I'm not saying we surrender to Putin, but let's be aware of where Biden has put us now.
Sure.
And it's hard to overstate how foolish Biden has been and why we're in this situation now. Because you're right. If it had been Trump, we wouldn't be here now.
Yeah. But yeah, you can't, there's got to be some finesse on this. You can't just go in there and say America and start blowing stuff up. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
I know it's fun to say and feel that way. We need to get in there and light up to work, get some A-10s, we'll be just fine. I get that, but no, it don't work that way. It's like I've heard more people, and I've said it myself, they keep showing that 40-mile convoy, and of course, people ever spend any time in the military, a couple A-10s, that's gone, that's bye. And you're right, but that's, it's different.
What I wonder about with that? What happened? Do we have some weapons? a 40-mile convoy that just went, the one part of the convoy just went down.
I would not be surprised.
Right.
Just from my time in the military, I've seen things that the public doesn't necessarily know that we do.
Right.
Yeah.
What did we do to them?
Yeah.
Guessing. And then, of course, you and I have talked about, some of this stuff that Lockheed Martin and the U.S. Navy have patented for vehicle, basically they're aircraft that seemingly defy the laws of physics.
Yeah.
And so, I wonder if some of the UFOs, we're in UFO land, that we see right now are us. Have we figured something out?
Sure. Well, it's kind of like, and I think it's safe for me to say this now, some 20 years removed, but on the radio, and I've talked a little bit about it. But when I worked, I was a weapons troop on the 117s, the Stealth at Holloman. And so I was in when we were dealing with Milosevic in Kosovo and all of that, 99, 2000, that time frame. And I will tell you, we mostly loaded and dropped laser guided bombs on bunkers, various targets, and things like that. But towards the end, we were dropping these cluster bombs that basically took out power. They used some kind of microwave technology, and they literally did the whole. What you see here doesn't. They brought us to a hangar and showed us top secret photos of what you see here doesn't exist, and made us sign disclosure statements and the whole nine about these things.
Right.
And of course, even the crew chiefs didn't know. The only people that knew what was in these bombs were the weapons guys and the pilots.
Right.
And so they did their mission, and everyone's asking. But then, of course, that later that day, it was all over the Stars and Stripes magazine talking about this new cluster bomb that took out. But basically, it just zapped power, and it had 120 of these bomblets in there, and if two of them can talk, it would zap power within an X amount of area. And so the folks from Yugoslavia are in there. Power plant gets zapped out. They go and fix it back up, and then bring it back online. And they collect all these bomblets. It's frying again, so it took out all the power in Belgrade. But what I mean is, we have that kind of stuff that the world doesn't have, about all the time when we just use it, and then they say, hey, here it is.
But Mike, all right, so bring it back to New Mexico. What if you had a governor who went to Lockheed Martin and to the Pentagon, and a governor who spoke military, General Zanetti, and spoke finance, financial advisors, and said, look, we've seen these patents. What's it going to take for you to research it, test it, and build it here? We have a lot of empty sky.
We do.
And we have a spaceport that is being used for next to nothing.
We got a lot of bombing ranges and a lot of open space here. Yeah.
And so what's it going to take? We want to be the center of gravity for the new technologies that we think you guys have figured out. Shouldn't you have a governor who starts thinking like that?
Absolutely.
Instead of just thinking that our economic development plan should be casinos, weed, and personal injury attorneys? Yeah. I mean, this is the way we've got to be thinking in this state. And again, it's why I'm running for governor.
We should be on the technology bubble cusp right there. And, when they talk about Silicon Valley and all those terms you hear in the 90s, it should be right here in New Mexico. You're right. That's where it should be.
And it can be.
Yeah. And again, like you said, it can be. Go to Greg Zanetti's website.
Yeah,
learn
ZanettiForGovernor.com.
Yeah, and learn more about, what we can do here and get involved with this stuff. And let's see. And I'm sure even if you don't agree with everything Greg's here, reach out to him. He'll be happy to talk to you about this stuff and get going. Are you going to be in town doing anything today, tomorrow?
Well, I go from here to Loco Hills, believe it or not. Then I'm heading over to Hobbs for an event tonight. But then I'll be back in Roswell tomorrow.
Okay.
So, and we're having an event tomorrow night. I should have brought the address, but it's a candidate forum.
Okay.
And the Republican Party is sponsoring it here, and would love to have any of your listeners come
Is that
out.
going to be over at the convention center? I think that's what I'll confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to be taking place over there. So
so come on out.
Yeah, they're doing the gubernatorial, and then the next night I think is the lieutenant governor candidate forum that they're going to be doing. So Tuesday night is the governor's, Wednesday night, and I think it's all over at the convention center by the Chaves County Federated Republican Women, I believe.
That's right.
I think that's
right. Federal are sponsoring it, not the party. But,
so that's it's tomorrow night and then Wednesday night, all at the Convention and Civic Center. There.
Nice.
So very good. So you can meet Greg and get there early. Get a chance to meet the Greg and the various candidates, and you get to ask some questions and talk to them that they may not address or deal at the forums there.
No, I love this part of the state, Mike.
Good deal.
I mean, you hardworking, producing, and you're right. To be treated as badly as this part of the state has been by our governor is disgusting.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we thank you for visiting. Thank you for spending time. Thanks for talking Russia with us for a little bit.
It's fun. You make it easy.
I think you gave some people some real understandings on what's actually going on there that might dispel those things they read on Facebook from time to time.
Spread the word, Janetti for governor.
There you go.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Mike.
We'll see you next time.
God bless you, man.
All right, it is 9:56. Travis County Sports Update. Quick break before we go. Don't go away.
It's time for the Travis County Sports Report. Well, it looks like the Southwest Classic Baseball Tournament is a round-robin tournament hosted by Goddard was pared down a little bit because, for one thing, we didn't see Moriarty anywhere on the schedule. Both Roswell and Goddard were scheduled to play Moriarty on Friday. So here's what we did have. It was Roswell against Goddard. Surprised? On Saturday, Roswell won that one by a score of 8-0. And Roswell's right back into action today at Organ Mountain in Las Cruces for a doubleheader. That starts at 4 o'clock. Organ Mountain is 5-1. Now, prior to Goddard playing Roswell, the Rockets did defeat Ruidoso 10-1 on Saturday. Their next game will be against Clovis, tournament action Thursday at 10 a.m. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. In escalating the U.S. drive to squeeze Russia's economy, President Joe Biden moved Friday with European and other key allies to revoke Moscow's most favored nation trade status. His administration also banned imports of Russian seafood, alcohol, and diamonds, and the United States is cutting the flow the other way. It's barring the export of expensive watches, cars, clothing, and other luxury American products to Russia. European Union leaders on Friday agreed to phase out dependency on Russian gas, oil, and coal imports as soon as possible, and decided to draw up a plan to support economies as they face skyrocketing energy prices amid a crisis aggravated by the war in Ukraine. Heads of state and government who gathered west of Paris said in a statement that the strategy will involve accelerating the reduction of an overall reliance on fossil fuel, diversifying supplies and routes for gas and oil, and speeding up the development of renewable energy. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
The Valley Cafe is now open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Located inside the 180 Youth Building across from Church on the Move on Brasher in Roswell. Enjoy soups, salads, sandwiches, burgers, and more. Try one of their signature creations like the Sweet and Spicy Burger with honey jalapeno bacon barbecue sauce, the chicken cordon bleu soup, Chef Anthony Noble's fried avocados, and the Smotherman Burger with creamy green chili sauce. Or swing by for coffee or breakfast burritos on your way to work. The all-new Valley Cafe, open Monday through Friday, 7 to 3. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or even a snack after school. Don't feel like leaving home? Order takeout from DoorDash.
Mays Lumber has all the hard-to-find hardwood you've been looking for. Oak, cherry, walnut, poplar, and maple. Plus, hard-to-find exotic woods like purple heart, zebra wood, ambrosia maple, black limba, and bloodwood. Perfect for that one-of-a-kind gift piece or table. Get ready with Formica and Wilson Art countertops in 12-footer custom length with installation available. Make it happen at Mays Lumber, 115 South Virginia in Roswell, serving southeastern New Mexico and beyond since 1934.
Sure, you can inspect your own roof, get out that rickety ladder, crawl around up there and try to spot the problem until... Or you can call the experts at Do Right Roofing. Do Right Roofing has quality products for any type of roof. They can even install seamless gutters. Do Right Roofing will inspect your roof and give you a free estimate fast. Keep your feet on the ground. Call Do Right Roofing today.
575-623-2273. Let Do Right do your roof right.
Find them fast in names and numbers.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The verb form of the word run has been calculated to have almost